Hi, everyone. Good morning. Let's just give it 5 more minutes. We're just waiting for some of our friends from Bangladesh, from Grameen, Bangladesh, to join us in a bit. There's a 2-hour time difference from Dhaka and Manila, so let's give it 5 minutes. Thank you. Mike. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 2021 Philippine Country Forum for the Global Social Business Summit. We'd like to welcome everyone from the Philippines joining us from the various schools and universities all over the country. from the partners of from our partners here from the global social business community, our friends from Bangladesh, and all the other people joining us today. We are live here for those who have registered. We are live on Zoom, but we are also live, and you can ask your friends to you can share this with your friends. We are also live on the NWTF Facebook page. It's facebook.com/NWTFI. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. As we start the Philippine Country Forum, we will be talking about youth engagement. Uh, the theme of social business in general. Let me go back a little bit. Why social business? Social business is really solving a social issue using business tools, using business as a tool, as a catalyst to solve the social issues. And the end of this is not to make money, but definitely to solve the social issues at hand. This concept of social business has been promoted and widely promoted and led by by Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus from Bangladesh, the founder as well of Grameen Bank, who has spread it all over the world. Today, there are I think 14 or 17 country forums ongoing for the Global Social Business Summit. The Global Social Business Summit is a gathering of friends, of people, of socially involved people who want to make a difference. Here in the Philippines, our goal today with this country forum is to encourage the youth, look for ways on how to engage the youth in social entrepreneurship and social business, because we all know that the solution to the issues that we face in our day-to-day lives, and the issues that we face, especially here in our country, the Philippines, it's the youth that have the solution to this. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And as we go to the first plenary, allow me to introduce myself. I am Raymond Serios from Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation and Dunganon Bank. Just a short introduction. I am joined today by my co-host who will come in later on, Mr. Andy Coscolwela. We are both the country chair for this Philippine Country Forum of the Global Social Business Summit. Let's head on now to plenary one, youth engagement. We have three very strong, very dynamic speakers who are with us today. Allow me to introduce the first speaker. Okay. The first speaker is from Make Sense, is the Asia Community Director for Make Sense, Pepper Limpoco. She leads all the citizen engagement efforts and programs for ambassadors across the region and provides accessible programs that focus on campaign organization, community building, and innovation methodologies. She has organized, facilitated, and spoken in more than 500 events on various topics of sustainability, and is also a national youth gender activist at United Nations Women. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our first presenter from Make Sense Philippines. She's very busy. Thank you very much for joining us, Pepper. Miss Pepper Limpoco.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Raymond. I'm very, very happy to be here. And hi, everyone. Good morning if you're tuning in from the Philippines, afternoon, or maybe good evening if you're tuning from anywhere else. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It's the topic I'm going to be talking about this morning is something that I love, obviously, as a community developer myself for years now. And the question that I was asked was to share a little bit about youth engagement. And of course, I'm going to be talking about that front on the Make Sense way of things. How do we involve the youth? Very much so, which is actually the core of our mission. So what do I mean by this? Well, firstly, let me just reiterate, very happy to be here. Yes, my name is Pepper, and I am the community director for Make Sense here in Asia, which means that I handle everything that has to do with citizen engagement, volunteer engagement, and just generally all of our ambassadors in the different cities that we're present in. Before I head on to explaining what we do in our community, let me just also recap for those of you who are maybe hearing about Make Sense for the first time, what Make Sense is really quickly. And what we are is an international organization. We were actually founded in France about 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago now. And we brought it to Asia at about 6 years ago already. And we have 7 offices in the different regions in the world. That's what makes us international. Now, essentially, our mission in Make Sense is really to engage at least 10% of the world's youth by 2030 to take action to create a more sustainable and inclusive world. And you see that on the screen right now. So it's very core to our mission to engage the youth, really. That's our target audience, if you can say so. And we do that by bringing together different actors in the ecosystem. So actors like top organizations and companies, social entrepreneurs themselves, and of course, incredible citizens to really collaborate and we can foster radical collaboration between all of these different actors to create an impact. And again, we do this because we believe actually that we all have a role to play, and that once we realize that we all have a role to play, the next thing is that you need a platform where everyone can contribute. And so really in a gist, that's what we do. If you want to find out more about us, feel free to reach out to me or check out our website at philippines.makesense.org. And just the last slide, these are some of the organizations we've worked with, but included in this, of course, is all the other organizations that are actually present here. Some of them we already know. All right, so we don't have a lot of time, but let me tell you a little bit about what we do for youth engagement and for volunteers, essentially. And just to tell you a little bit of context, we've been running ambassador programs and volunteer programs in Make Sense for the past 6 years already. And really what we do is that we have a lot of ambassadors or volunteers from across different cities who are youth members, and we offer them very accessible and free training, resources, methodologies, and the network as well, so that they can really act on the issues that they care about. So this is something we've been doing. Now, in the past years as well, we've been doing it for the most part, at least half online and half offline. So meaning we really do in-person events, as many of you most likely have also been doing in person, face-to-face. And obviously when the pandemic started last year, it was very impossible to do so anymore. We had to shift everything online. It wasn't anything new for us to do things online, but to do it 100% online was definitely a challenge. And it was something that we had to do because our volunteers themselves were saying that we need to be able to still create an impact, even if we're all apart, even if it's 100% virtual. And so this is why we started thinking about how can we find a program that could still make an impact, even though it involves online action that translates to offline impact. And we wanted it to be able to create an impact within just, very quickly. So a certain amount of time, in this case, in just a week. And so we worked with the community trying to build something that was addressing that. And we came up with what we now call the Reaction Program. We've been running the Reaction Program since the very beginning of the pandemic, which was already almost 2 years ago. But what the Reaction Program is, it's a 100% online program that allows anyone from the Philippines, at least, to take action on the most relevant issues amidst the pandemic. And so because the quarantine was still in place, people were still confined, we had to find a way for our volunteers to still be able to take on, action on challenges like job security, very, very big topic amidst the pandemic, access to water for a lot of families, actually, mobility, especially those during the pandemic, right, during the quarantine, What else? We have mental health, a lot of different topics. And so it's run 100% virtually. People do not need to see each other. Um, and it allows for any Filipino really to contribute to change regardless of where, regardless of their background, regardless of their expertise, and especially regardless of their location. Now, how this works is simply this. As a whole, we have specific goals to achieve per thematic. So specific goals for job security, for example, in specific goals for mental health, etc. And what we do is we look for partner NGOs or partner organizations in general who are already working on that specific thematic and actually have stuff going on offline. And together, what we do is that we turn those goals into more bite sized tasks. And that is very, very important, turning it into bite sized tasks. And these bite sized tasks are what the volunteers sign up for so that they can contribute to. And then the volunteers receive support from our community officer of the reaction program. Now, I say the bite-sized tasks are very important because usually when you volunteer, you're given this big goal that you'd like to achieve, which is great because that sets the context and the direction. But without the nitty-gritty details, it makes it very hard for the youth, the volunteers, to really understand where exactly can I contribute. And so we came up with something that is very unique that we uniquely call the library of tasks for all of our volunteers. And what it essentially is it's a centralized document that makes volunteering very well coordinated and very clear for all volunteers as well. Again, when you sign up to be a volunteer, most of the time you get confused with what do I really have to do? What's my exact task, what's my deadline, what's my notes, where do I put this document, etc. And so you need a lot of these vital information actually when you really want to understand how exactly can I contribute and how to get you started easily. And so this library of tasks is a simple document. It's nothing like a entire coding system or whatsoever, but it's a document that helps answer that problem. So it's very simple. For example, there's a task in the library that says translate this children's story from English to any Filipino language. Very simple. You have the deadline, you have the place where you're going to submit it in. Maybe it's a Google Drive, maybe it's Notion, it's a form, whatever. And then you have the document as well in the library of tasks. So it makes it easy for you to just sign up, put your name in there, and then complete the task on your own time, right? Other tasks that are in the library of tasks, for example, is find 5 friends who could donate a kilo of rice each. So then that's your task. You have to look for 5 friends who can donate a kilo of rice. Now, the tasks are very simple and they seem very simple. They're very bite-sized, but really the point is because you have a lot of volunteers doing these tasks at the same time, then the impact at the end of each week is really incredible. Because one person can find 5 kilos of rice, but if 10 people are doing that, then you can only imagine how much rice we can provide to the families who really needed it the most, especially last year in the beginning of the quarantine, of the pandemic as well. Now, the reaction program, like I said, has been running for almost 2 years. And so we've been able to support more than 8 thematics, ranging from, things I already mentioned, job security, housing, mental health, education. Not in this list as well, we've tackled women empowerment and sexual and reproductive health, actually, 2 topics that are also very relevant to this year. Okay, I'm going to be closing in a bit, so don't worry. But before that, I just want to share really quickly one very short story from a volunteer. And to emphasize that when we say online action that has offline impact, we really mean it. And this is one example. Some volunteers originally had the task of supporting Filipino teachers by helping them set up their online accounts, helping them with donations for bond paper and printing material. So that was really just the task. Now, just as a lot of students, all students most likely have been struggling with online classes from the past 2 years, so have a lot of teachers too. So another task for the volunteers was actually to help teachers understand the platform Zoom, the very platform we're on. A lot of teachers are still unfamiliar with the platform and found it very difficult to use it for the online setting. And so our volunteers hopped on short but really impactful calls with each of the teachers to really teach them the basics from, entering the call, renaming yourself, muting, unmuting, creating breakout rooms, all of these different functions. Again, the action seems simple, but really has a profound effect on a teacher, and the teachers were really, really grateful for it. That's just one really quick story. Now, there's so much impact you can create by doing bite-sized tasks online. In these two themes, whoa, two themes alone, we've been able to do a lot of things. For example, we produced 16 videos. We collected a lot of these pieces of pieces for recycling. There you go. And again, all of these that you see on the screen were done in just 4 weeks, actually. So again, imagine the bite-sized task, but really offline impact is what it results to. I do want to add before my very last slide that volunteering is obviously very good for the beneficiaries, meaning the people who are going to be receiving it. But because we're talking about youth engagement, I also want to just take one slide to say, is it good for the youth, for the volunteers themselves? And the answer to that is very much a yes. And I'm going to give 3 reasons here. Firstly, you'll see in pink, volunteering as mental health check. There are a lot of studies that say, even before the pandemic, that altruism, volunteering, giving back, and helping others actually makes you happier. And studies have found that helping others has very tangible benefits to your health. So it can lower your blood pressure, reduce feelings of depression as well. So that's one really good impact for yourself as a youth volunteer, right? Secondly, as you can see here, it is volunteering as community building. It increases your social and your social skills, your relationship skills. And when you give back and volunteer, it connects you to other people around you and to new people as well. So obviously the thousands of volunteers we've had in the Reaction program, they do the tasks by themselves, but they also get to talk to each other because we build a community amongst them. And lastly, volunteering also is for career development, actually. So even if we have young people coming in, so we have around, our age range for volunteers is around 17, 18 until 30, actually. And for all of these volunteers, it's really a career development opportunity because they get to practice very important skills that are usually used in the workplace, like teamwork with each other, communication, obviously, problem solving, planning, etc. So it's good for both ends of the spectrum, for the beneficiaries, but for the volunteers themselves. I hope I've convinced everybody on the positive effects of volunteering and how you can be involved as a youth member through volunteering. And you're ready to give it a go if you'd like to take the first step in that journey, or maybe you're just interested to see how Make Sense events go. We have an event upcoming, the Sense Camp 2021. It's going to be on November 27. As usual, it's 100% organized by 100% online for this year at the very least, and is organized by our wonderful Reaction volunteers themselves. And we're going to be talking about climate action. So there's really cool tracks you can choose from. There's a track where you can hear from, it's a human library where you can hear from someone who is going to talk about being a vegan since they were 12 because of climate change. There's also this whole demo from a chef trying to cook not using anything that has that's contained in single-use plastic. So there's a lot of different things ongoing in the Sense Camp. So please do come. Link is in the photo. And if you don't get to catch this link, then you can always just email me here. Don't hesitate to reach out again. Thanks again for having us, and have a wonderful rest of the morning or afternoon or evening.
Thank you so much, Pepper. That's Pepper from Make Sense. Wow, I love the library of tasks. Actually, the impact that can bring. We will have time for question and answer later on. But now allow me to move on to the second speaker for this plenary.
Ramon,
The second, yes.
I'm sorry that for technical reason I am late to join.
No problem, Ratan.
Thank you, all of you. Good morning from Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Yeah,
Okay, continue, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Our next speaker is Nico Pablo from Ashoka Youth Years. Nico is the communications manager of Ashoka, the world's largest network of system-changing social entrepreneurs. And in the Philippines, Nico is also one of the conveners of the Youth Years Philippines Collective, which aims to provide youth-serving organizations a space to work together towards forming more young change makers. Nico, take it away.
Thank you, Raymond. Um, I've informed the NWTF team that they could share my slides. But good day to everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. So I think this is a wonderful topic to our forum, right? How can the youth engage? And I know we are under the lens of social business and social entrepreneurship. And of course, with Ashoka, that's one of the core things that we're looking at, right? Um, but I just want us to take a bit of a step back and see, like, there's so many youth who want to engage and to give and to contribute to the 3 zeros. But many of them feel like maybe they're not ready to be, let's say, social entrepreneurs yet. How do we then get those young people to engage? So this is something that we considered. And so today I want to present to you Gubataan, which is a program that we are currently piloting with its first batch. So we're still learning a lot from it. We're still in the stage where we can refine and learn from the feedback that we get. But we're so happy to roll this out. Next slide, please. So in case you don't know what Ashoka is, it's the first and largest network of social innovators and entrepreneurs, but also specifically those who have systems changing solutions and ideas that are that already have proof on the ground, that are already changing communities. And also what we do is we connected change makers, partners, and institutions to shift systems and mindsets. And of course, we work towards this mission that we encapsulate in one phrase, everyone a change maker. So that we're working towards a world where that is possible and true. And so one of the things that we did was really come up with a Youth Years collective, which is a collective or a coalition of youth serving organizations. And just to have that collaborative space to talk, because we felt that maybe nobody really was providing that platform. So some of them are here today. Actually, I see NWTF is part of it. Foundation University, and also actually makes sense. So those are just some of the organizations that we are talking to. So I mentioned this because Gubataan is a direct kind of product from that. So we had all these conversations with different youth serving organizations, and we were thinking that we should try to create our own program and kind of apply the insights that we learned from these convenings with other organizations. So next slide. Yes. This is usually like an more interactive portion, but since we don't really have that much time, I'm just going to kind of breeze through them and like give you just the gist. So I want you to, this is kind of like a mind setting exercise, just to think of 20 years ago or 21 years ago, let's say in the year 2000, the jobs such as vlogger and influencer, social media manager, digital content creator, data science specialist, UX professional, CrossFit instructor, did these exist 21 years ago? And you'll find that the answer is no, but or not in the sense that we understand them today. Maybe the ancestors or the predecessors or precursors to these jobs that we know and are super familiar with at the present. But just 20 years ago, these were foreign. And if you ask any layman, then this would be alien, probably language to them. Next slide. So let's move forward into 10 years. So 10 years ago, where would you hear the following about the following: cultural appropriation, intersectionality, SOGI, and mental health. So no doubt, of course, a lot, maybe some of you already knew this 10 years ago, but I think what the common sentiment is that these terms were more prevalent in academic institutions. For example, I only learned SOGI during this year in my university, but if I didn't, let's say, study in a progressive university, then I would have never encountered this term as well. again, cultural appropriation is just something that I learned of a few years ago. So, but these kind of concepts have existed way beyond 10 years ago. So, but now I think every Gen Z, or almost every Gen Z with access to the internet, kind of already knows these terms or familiar with it. So we can see that their changes is coming at such an increasing pace, so that information and jobs and even cultural mindsets and norms are changing as well. And then the next slide. So just 2 years ago, would you think of wearing a face mask to school or in the mall? And usually when you test this out, people will only say when they were sick. But now it's like the norm. When you go out, you have to wear a mask. So you can see that that just happened in 9 years from 2010. So what is the point to all of these slides that I'm presenting? Next slide. So change is moving at an exponential rate. So if you have the time to kind of look at this, or you can screenshot it, just the point of this diagram is showing how major inventions in the past have had like decades between them. But now if you look towards where we are right now, sometimes it just takes years before some society altering kind of invention or innovation takes place, and it's coming faster and faster to us. Um, Next slide. But what does this mean actually for us? I want us to think of the question like, do all Filipinos feel like they're able to adapt, thrive, and take part in these new things, in all these changes that are taking place? Does everyone have a seat at the table? And I know it won't take long for you to answer and to think of the answer and say it's probably no, it's not. There is like this. We already know of the current inequalities that we are facing as a society, but all these changes are actually creating also this new divide. Next slide. So there's a new great divide also in skills and mindsets needed to navigate the future, right? So if change is moving at exponential rate, you will be left behind if you don't know how to problem solve, if you don't know how to think creatively, if you don't know how to work in a team, for example. So these are like essential skills that every young person must know this in this day and age. But if we take a scan, just a quick scan of our current social landscape, we know that this is not the case. So what should we be doing for it? Next slide. Yeah, so in other words, how can everyone, especially the youth, contribute to the 3 zeros? Next slide. So this is where we come in with that mission of everyone a change maker. So what does it mean when we say everyone a change maker? It means that anyone, literally anyone, so parent, student, teacher, neighbor, etc., who understands that there is this due inequality of people being left behind because of change moving at an alarming rate. And they're using the skills that they have and that they can develop to close this gap and to create more opportunities for the people around them and their community. Next slide. Okay, but I wanted to say that we take a step back, right? We talked to this sociologist. So some of you might know him, Jail Cornelio, and he studies a lot about the youth, and mostly about religion, but also youth in general, Filipino youth in general. And we asked him about like what would it take for more Filipinos to be change makers. He asked us also to think about how change making might not necessarily be the term or a goal that every Filipino aspires for, right? And that's very, very true, because if you say change making, change maker, we think about the terms that we talk about today in this forum. Maybe it only appeals or is familiar to a few, or maybe just a small percentage of the population. The larger percentage would question you, like, what does change making mean? What does social entrepreneurship mean? What does social innovation mean? So in order for us to build a bridge for more young people to get there, right? What must we do? So through Jail's suggestions, there are 2 points that we have to think of. First is we have to build aspirations. Young people must dream bigger. They must know that they are not limited to just what they've been maybe told, um, or right by their surroundings, what they see in their immediate surroundings. They must be given access to a broader horizon of possibilities. And that's when they are able to think that, oh, okay, I can become maybe a social entrepreneur because that possibility has been given to me, whereas I never encountered it before. And the second, of course, is meet them where they are. You can't expect them to make that leap if you don't meet them where they are. If you expect them to be at a different stage or level than what they are. So meaning you have to know their context, you have to know where they're coming from. Basically, you have to know them by talking to them, right? And seeing like what is the best way to create solutions for this. Next slide. So of course, the pandemic, as we all know, you're maybe probably sick and tired of talking about it, but because of this, the young people, and especially young Filipinos, have been disconnected from their peers because they've been forced to isolate, of course, for safety reasons, but also from nature because they're tasked to kind of spend all their days inside or indoors. And so there is this disconnection from nature as well. And maybe there's a helplessness because they hear of all these issues happening, but they don't, maybe they feel like they can't do anything about it. Next slide. So what we did is, actually we have a friend, a farmer Ashoka staff, who is a certified permaculture practitioner and designer, and she already is tending to her own food forest. So that's pretty amazing. And then she got together with us because she thought that permaculture actually teaches change maker mindsets. And so it's maybe something that we can kind of combine and teach young people so that they can actually become change makers, so that they can actually contribute to maybe the 3 zeros. And permaculture teaches, resilience, regeneration, and reconnection. So the next slide will kind of show you an overview of the 12 permaculture principles, which I won't go through because it's actually her who's the expert. So it's our partner who's the expert in permaculture. Sorry, next slide. Yeah, so you'll see the principles here, but they're categorized really into like 3 main themes. Earth care, which is obvious because permaculture from permanent agriculture is kind of this lifestyle, mindset, philosophy of, not really disrupting nature, but kind of creating, food supplies, food systems, gardens that are in harmony with nature rather than disrupting it. And it was termed, I think, in the 70s by 2 Australians, but it's also based on indigenous people's knowledge already. So it's just like a new take on it, but it's been with us and our ancestors for centuries and for now. So that's earth care. People care is because it's always also a focus on community. People help each other. It's very not focused on individuals, but focused on what people can do to help grow things together, to help each other. And also fair share at the same time is, again, because you have this communal mindset, it's also about collective action and also helping each other out. So you can see that permaculture is a great framework, right? So next slide. So we created Bubataan, which is this, for now it's online because we're still restricted by several COVID concerns. But it's an experiential nature-inspired journey that aims to activate young minds, hearts, and hands to practice the unique powers that are highly valued now and more so in the future. So in short, it's teaching young people about permaculture and its 12 principles, but at the same time, also instilling in them those change maker mindsets, change maker values already, so that they can start creating, start practicing change maker skills. Next slide. Yeah, so these are just some details. Next slide. I think we can skip this. Yes, I think we can skip this also, but basically, yes, here you'll see that these are the 12 permaculture principles. So we bring them through different modules that are organized under changemaker themes like empathy, creativity, collaborative leadership, and systems thinking. So they learn through videos, they learn through activities that they can do. And then they also go into synchronous sessions with other more established change makers so that they can learn directly from like Ashoka Fellows or other people in their network who already are creating social solutions. So they can learn through that also. Next slide. So that's just an example of these are the current batch that we have that we have had the pleasure of teaching and also learning from. So that's them. They range from around 13 years old to around to 30 years old. So yeah, they're also diverse. They come from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and different ethno-linguistic groups. So I think that's my last slide. Yeah, so if you're more curious about this, you can just follow Ashoka Philippines and Amidst the Green online, who is our permaculture partner. And you can also reach out to me through my email. I'll be putting it in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nico. Wow, who would imagine that permaculture would allow change making, no? Will inspire change making. We'll go into that later on, question and answer. I think so. The first two presenters, Pepper and Nico, presented to you. These are organizations based here in the Philippines. Now, for our third speaker, allow me to introduce our third speaker. Okay. Our third speaker is Mostafizur Rahman. He's a researcher and a solution designer with more than 7 years of experience in qualitative and quantitative research, monitoring, impact analysis, solution design, and project cycle management. He is passionate about helping nonprofits and enterprises to improve their products and services. Right now, he is managing the research and innovation portfolio of YY Ventures or Unison Youth Ventures, and using scientific evidence, data, technology, design thinking, and creativity to create an enabling environment for social entrepreneurs who fight poverty, unemployment, and carbon emission. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Mr. Mostafizur Rahman, the Senior Manager for Research and Innovations at YY Ventures.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you for the nice introduction, and thank you, Andy, for inviting me in this session. I'm just sharing my presentation slides. Let me know if you can see it. Can you see my presentation slide?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning, Philippine. Good morning from Bangladesh. We're joining here from here. And also good evening or wherever you are joining. So my name is Mostafizur Rahman. I'm basically managing the research and innovation portfolio at YY Ventures, an organization that is under the umbrella of Yunus ecosystem, we say. And I'm also managing the correspondence of 3Z Global Center. You can reach me at mostafiz@YY Ventures. Feel free to email me anytime. So today I'm going to present a new initiative called 30 Club. It's initiated by Professor Mohammad Yunus. And the reason behind the 30 Club is basically now we can see a lot of youth who have been doing so many great things. They are the most powerful generation among all. They have the power to change the world. They are already doing it, actually. They have the power to change the socio-economic system. And we can see, I can see two of our presenters already presented some initiative, and we can see that there are youth who are actually changing the world, and they are already working on it. So Professor Mohammad Yunus also thought about, they also have the greatest power right now, which is internet and technology. Those are the two powerful technology, powerful tool they have, and using those powerful tools, they are basically trying to solve it, solve the most difficult challenge, solve the most difficult social challenges, both at their community level and also at their national level and global level as well. So Professor Mohammad Yunus thought, why don't we connect them, connect those young people all together and create a platform to solve the bigger problem, like the most biggest problems that he identified, which is like zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration for ending poverty, the zero unemployment by unleashing entrepreneurship in all, Professor Mohammad Yunus defined it as a 3-0 problem, and he wanted to create a world of 3 zeros. Like he want to eradicate these 3 problems, and he want to make a better world for the young people. So he thought, why don't we create a club, the 3-0 club? And it's a mini micro club where he can basically connect young people, very micro group of young people, and help them to do something, help them to connect with each other and create a social change. So 3-0 Club is basically a 5 young people's club, where they can be like 12 to 35 years of old. It can be like adolescent and youth, and they can join together and they can have a small mission, like do something, can be do a workshop, can be a small step. For example, we have a club who are from France. They have an organization, what is one action per day. They have been working on climate change issue, and they're basically motivating young people to do one small thing that will help them to improve the climate. For example, taking a shorter shower, or taking a bus instead of car, or something like that. So small step that help to improve the environment, to help to improve the climate change. So Professor Mahmoud Yunus' vision, visions that young people will come forward, they will start working together and start solving the bigger problem all together. So that's the idea of 3-0 Club. So we have developed a 3-0 Club platform. It's live on a website, 30.club. And we have been supporting the 3-0 Club since the beginning of its journey. So we started our journey on June 28, 2021. It's on the 11th Social Business Day. And since then, many clubs have been joined through this platform. They have been working towards their vision, towards their interested area. They are doing a simple mini micro task, but that is basically helping to solve the social and economic challenges throughout the world. So on the platform, we have designed some documents so that we can help the young people. We can guide young people at first and help them to start their work as soon as possible. So we have designed some like documents like handbook, like helping them to understand how, as a club member, they can start together, they can start working with their clubs or some other clubs they're interested to connect with. And right now we have clubs from 13 countries, including Eastern Asian countries as well, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia. I hope there will be clubs from Philippines as well soon. And when a club joined through our platform, we actually do a welcome meeting. Professor Mohammad Yunus was there. He welcomed everyone who are interested in joining a 3-0 Club. He basically talked with them. He tried to understand like the motivation of young people and the reason behind these to join in the club. And we also did some orientation session, basically welcoming the 3-0 Club, registered 3-0 Club. So the clubs who go to our web platform and registered their club, and we welcome them. We just tell them like, yay, congratulations, welcome on board. And we also try to improve their technical skill, capacity, knowledge as well. So we organize different workshop. We have designed a workshop called Social Business 101, and this is basically for 3-0 Club members. And we provided them training through the Yunus Center. There are a resource person from Yunus Center, and they provided training. They teach them what is social business, and they kind of try to motivate them so that young people would be interested in social business, and they can maybe design a social business to improve their community or their families maybe. So we also, our club members also celebrated World Ozone Day on this year. So they have run a campaign in their community. They have done some tree plantation as well, to kind of motivate other people to join in the club and also to join in the cause as well. And recently we had run a essay competition. It's basically for the club members as well. So its competition is basically writing an essay describing what the world leaders must decide at the COP26 summit. So we have already decided our winner, which would be published soon. And this is an interesting thing. We are going to organize a 30 Club convention on November 9, 2021. It's basically on Dhaka time. It's 19 to 21 Dhaka time. So I think it would be quite late in Philippines, probably 10 p.m. at night. So, but I hope you will join here. You will at least see what the 30 Club members are doing. So this 30 Club convention is basically a celebration or get together of 30 Club members. Club members will come together, have a discussion and let other people know what they're doing, what they're working on, and also motivate other people to start working now or maybe work in future as well. And this is everything from us. If you want to know further about 30 Club, you can visit our website, 30.club. You can motivate other people to join in the club as well, to take local action through the platform as well. And you can also write to us at connect@30.club. So that is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mustafa Sur. Now, allow me to, let's move to the question and answer portion. Can I ask Pepper, Nico, and Mustafa Zur to join me? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I guess my first question is, and I'd like to invite the audience to type in the questions in the chat, or maybe you raise your hand if you wanna be recognized. We can put you on a video if you have questions. But to start the ball rolling, allow me to ask the first questions. First, I think all of you can agree that there is much more really youth engagement these days, much more in the last 2 years or even a year or so, starting with the COVID pandemic. And Pepper has been talking a lot about moving to the online platform, and this has been like most of the this has been the most used platform. So given the change in the stronger youth engagement these days, what have you seen? What's the main difference coming from before in terms of, number one, the quality of the youth engagement, and number two, perhaps, is what are the motivations? What tickles the youth to join in and be engaged in these activities? Pepper, please go ahead.
Sure, Raymond. That's a very good question. A couple things come in mind when it comes to the question of changes, especially in the past 2 years. A lot of volunteer engagement landscape has really changed because of the pandemic, as with many other things. One thing that we did definitely notice is accessibility has been better, simply because it's all online, at least for our audience, which are usually youth who have access to internet and who have knowledge in using the tools that we use. So for example, Facebook, Google Sheets, these types of online tools and platforms are usually things that they know about, but before didn't really have much access to, because, for example, our programs would be half in person. And so if geographically you couldn't attend, then you couldn't attend. In this case, because it's all online, then it makes it much easier for our community, at least, to connect. You just really need to join a Zoom link. And that has made the reach of our programs even more extensive than before. We sort of tracked the different cities and provinces last year in our reaction program that the volunteers were present in, and we were really happy to know that actually in each of the regions in the Philippines there was at least one volunteer, and we didn't have that before. We were present in around 9 cities, but not in all cities, right, in the Philippines. And so that was really awesome for us, and it's one of our goals to make sure that because we are based in Metro Manila, but we do want to extend this even further to areas that are not in the metro area. So that would be one thing. On the other side of the spectrum, although it is more accessible, it is also easier for the volunteers to get burnt out with the program. Obviously, they're trying to juggle. A lot of the people that are in our community are either students, university students, or are working but are on a work from home setup. And so it's and understandably so, it makes it much easier to burn out when you're coming from school, and then you have to hop on another call and hop on another call. So which is, I guess, the case for a lot of people, a lot of communities. It's very much easier to feel tired even if you're just hopping on a Zoom call. Now, I think the good thing here is that seeing each other in person, which feels a little bit, feels a bit closer to possible already, at least for 2022, becomes a very good reward for our volunteers already. So we're really looking forward to having a meetup, seeing each other in person, people you've been working with past 2 years, haven't really seen what they look like face to face, becomes a very good reward for our volunteers. So before, it usually was taken for granted, you could just meet up and then it's just a meeting. But now actually being together in the same space becomes a very, very big moment that volunteers really look forward to. So I would say that's another, going back to trying to sandwich a good thing and a bad thing and a good thing. I think that's a good thing that people are still looking forward to actually meeting face to face. I hope that answered the question fully.
Oh, definitely. Great. Nico, can you chime in?
Yeah, actually, Pepper, everything that Pepper said resonates with me as I am kind of handling Gubataan also. I would say that one change also is with this new setup, we're talking more to we have something called community partners. So how did we reach youth from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao? Again, it's the same philosophy we had in youth years. It's really talking already to the organizations who are already talking to youth. So it's like we're not reinventing the wheel, right? We're already leveraging our existing networks. And we found that one is the crucial, that coordination with the community partners is the crucial key, because first of all, they know the youth, their own youth participants in person, and they know them well. So they know the context and they can relate to us that this is the current context. And I think this is related to the question in the chat. Like, one of the biggest challenges really that we're handling is the various contexts, because we really wanted to open this, especially to the youth who aren't, who don't necessarily get the same opportunities as maybe youth in Manila who study in private schools. So there are so many programs, I think, that rural youth and indigenous youth are excluded from. And so through this pilot batch that we have, we're happy to say that we reached those, but only because we talked to organizations that had communities already that had these marginalized sectors. And so the main challenge was that just the logistics of, well, some of the youth, for example, live in very remote areas, so their internet might not be that stable or reliable. So we had to kind of, for example, schedule certain synchronous sessions, basically during times when they could go, for example, to a bigger city so that their signal could be more stable, and that's where we would meet them. Or there's also, like, since it's mostly on an online platform, it's mostly hosted on Discord, we also thought that there could be an offline option, for example. So you could download the videos and the content basically into USB. So the community partner who is handling the youth in those remote areas can pass on to them the content, so that they don't have to go online 24/7, for example. So we found that with this new setup of and this program being mostly well 100% online actually, that coordination with community partners is like even more crucial as we try to deliver this program to the audience that we want.
Mustafa Zur?
Thank you. I kind of agree with Paper and Nico as well. This is true. The access to joining the volunteer platform or youth activism is now quite good. Like we can see, we can connect with like the action we are taking through our 30 Club platform. We can actually try to reach young people from all over the world, and this is possible because of the internet, because of the technology, and also access to information about how you can actually do social work or volunteerism related work, and you can connect with other people. You can improve skills, knowledge, those information, and also opportunity are kind of accessible now, which is compared to before. And the good thing is young people kind of realize that it is important for their personal growth, for their mental growth, and also their career as well. We can see in Bangladesh a lot of young people do volunteerism, youth activism because of their career, not only because their societal reason, but also their personal career growth reason. They want to improve their skill, they want to improve their network, and also they want to improve their problem solving issues as well. So they think their personal growth is first and then maybe community at the second. I don't mind it because this is somehow is actually changing the community, changing the national level as well. So this is a good thing because human development is a part of development as well. That's what I believe. And I think this is a good thing in one way. And we also saw the pandemic has created a challenging situation for development work, like development in total was kind of in challenge because we couldn't interact with each other, and this kind of work like volunteerism, activism was difficult for many young people. But we also saw many young people took the technology, like I mentioned, the technology and internet, computer internet toward the main powerful tool, and they use it quite well. We have seen many virtual activism, virtual actions through young organizations. So I think we have new tools, and if we can collectively and effectively use these kind of tools, we can see a lot of good solution or social development program in future, I guess. So I'm kind of hopeful about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me just, we have a question here from Rachel and Nico, and Mustafa Zur sort of touched on it a little bit. But before I go into there, allow me to set the tone here. In this country forum, we actually have a lot of our speakers, and they'll be talking in the second plenary. A lot of our participants are really representatives of schools and universities. Because what we want to do with this first session is try to inspire them that there are these three organizations, Make Sense, Ashoka, and the 30 Club, that their students or the youth of today can join in, and there are a lot of activities where they can channel their efforts and all their even their thoughts. I think what we're seeing, what the three of you are saying, is that the youth of today are really taking action. And when they do, and you've mentioned some of these already. Going back to Rachel of One Loop's question, what's the biggest challenge or hurdle that you or your organization encountered in engaging the youth during the pandemic, and how were you able to overcome them? Any of you want to chime in?
I think. Sorry.
Nico, go ahead.
Nico, you're on mute.
Yes, I accidentally pressed it again. If I can just echo what I kind of said a while ago, it's basically uh, again a lot of we're saying that because of the internet, we can reach more people, right? But then again, if you are a marginalized person, then you are further marginalized. So we wanted to be mindful that we would reach people who weren't already being reached to begin with before the pandemic. And so that was such an ambitious task, I think, because we couldn't, coordinate things in person. So everything had to be coordinated online as well. So really the key to that challenge really was finding the community partners who would give us access to the youth who aren't who don't get the same opportunities as probably the youth in Manila, for example. So I think that's the biggest hurdle really is the logistics of, okay, this, for example, this particular group of youth don't have great signal. This particular, so many different contexts that you have to play with. And I would say that in solving that challenge, it's really just trying to think and problem solve very agilely, and having collaborators who are also very enthusiastic about the program. So they also go above and beyond so that they also meet you where you are halfway. So it's like, if not for them, that we won't be able to reach, I guess, the indigenous youth in the Mindanao, for example, or the scholars, the rural scholars we have in the Visayas and Capiz. So yeah, it's really just that that coordination and that partnership that you have to look out for people with similar values and who are dedicated also to your goals, so that they will also work and compromise so that they can meet you also.
Thank you. I think we face two major challenges in terms of digital divide, and also one thing that we define is time inequality. So maybe I can define it. So digitally, we can see a lot of young people, they don't have access to internet or digital technology. So in this pandemic situation, we cannot reach them directly. That's the major challenge. And another problem is when we try to reach young people from rather poor families, so they don't have much time to engage in this kind of youth activism, because they are basically working their day and night to maybe earn some money, maybe earn some extra income for their families. So, and this basically youth activism, volunteerism is for people, I mean, not for people, like people can engage this kind of activities when they have some free time, when they have some extra time from the day, they can engage and they can jump into that. But many people we can see from the rural area, they're basically supporting their husband, their father, their family members during their free time, like their after the study time or something. So we often call them marginalized in terms of engagement because we cannot reach them. We try to reach them, not the pandemic time, even before the pandemic time, because they have their extra opportunity, and this volunteerism or activism is kind of opportunity cost for them always. So it is always difficult to engage everyone and give them the access to our program, include them in our activities. So it's a kind of challenging always, in terms of digitally, in terms of physical event, I mean offline events. But the good thing is now, like countries like Bangladesh, we are kind of overcoming the economic situation. We are improving the economic situation. So, and also government have some designing some development programs. So engage young people, and they're kind of see that, hey, I can see my friend is doing this. So maybe why not I take some extra time from my work and maybe I can join in. So we can also see the motivation among young people, because again, young people are the change maker. They have the will, they have the power to change their community and also the national level. So we can see they're actually, I mean, even after their hard day, I mean, busy day, they're trying to engage in a way, different program, different events. So those are the things that also motivates me as well. And I feel it's a good change actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, I I have I've just been told that we have 5 more minutes. Maybe I'll do 2 or 3 more questions. One question for everybody. A lot of as I mentioned, a lot of our participants here are with the schools, faculty and staff of the schools. What would be one thing that you would do if you were the faculty of a school or a university, for that matter, to have more engagement among your students, or to get students to be more engaged in community activities? Pepper, you're an expert on this. I'll let you chime in. I remember, Pepper, when it was ECQ time in Manila last year. Just before I turn on my Netflix, I always check on the Facebook, and you and Leia always had too many things, too many activities.
Too many is the right word, but in a good way, right?
Yeah.
Positively too many. Yes, I will chime in on this question just because it's something we've been doing for quite a while. We've obviously been working with Foundation University amongst other universities as well. And one of the things actually we've been doing in the past couple of months for the reaction program is actually partner with professors themselves. And so what would happen is, if the topic of the event, the task, or the project itself was falling under the same topic that the professor is actually teaching the university students or high school students even, we'd partner with them to include the activity within the class course itself. And that proved to be sort of like a 2 birds, 1 stone, because for the professor, that's another activity that is going to be sort of a quality type of project that your students can be part of, and it takes a little bit of work off your hands, but at the same time it gives them very concrete experience in whatever you're teaching. Rather than staying in the virtual classroom, then at least you can apply whatever is in the topic to an actual partner organization, to actual beneficiaries, etc. So that's one way, is really just directly we contact professors, or they contact us and we say, hey, is there a way for us to include this, I don't know, webinar, this workshop into your class? And then that way you can offer also plus points. No student would ever say no to plus points, no. So that's one way. Another way is really just to create sort of what we call hotspots or chapters, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with, inside the university, or at least in the area or city, province that the university is present in. And so that way, it's not just confined to one university or one school. All of you guys can come together and we can all work together in your vicinity, so that we can make sure that your students are very much involved, are leaders, and it's a good thing. I think that it's a really good strategy to have, to involve more people, especially students, into this type of engagement. And involving them as a group is also a good thing, because then they know, oh, my classmate's going to join in. Oh, my schoolmate, my org mate is joining in. I have someone who I already know. It's a little less intimidating to join these types of projects. And if my professor even recommends it, it must be a good project as well. So that mentality is already vetted by if it comes from the school or the teacher itself. So I definitely encourage those two insights to be done.
Thank you. Thank you. Nico? Nico, sorry, can you increase your volume?
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, yeah, sorry. It's a great question, because one of the things we're thinking of with scaling Gubatan is talking to schools, really, because we feel like permaculture and change making are not things that you necessarily should only learn, as an extracurricular, but also it's something that could be, ingrained in what young people are learning in their own curriculum. So for a teacher, I would say that I think it's important for teachers also to have a mindset of times are changing. So what we might have learned as students in our day and age might not be relevant already in what young people are facing today. So just to have that kind of mindset of thinking like, okay, what are the skills that would be valuable in the future, regardless of what the industry might evolve and change into. So there are several frameworks out there, like P21, I think, that already encapsulate that very well. But also, I think we all, us as an organization, we're thinking of also talking to administrators, because I think it's school administration that really has this huge influence. Like, if they tell like, this is the curriculum that we want to do, you know, teachers will also be involved in that conversation as well. So there's a huge pull if you talk to administrators as well. So I think it's really a matter of changing a mindset into thinking that certain things now that were probably relegated to something called an extracurricular might actually be already a valuable mindset and skill set that young people should have. So just to read up on these things, and then just to again, there are many organizations out there like us, and you know, the 30 Club, and they make sense, who are super eager to partner with academic institutions into thinking like, how can we, you know, really create that education, that holistic education for young people, so that, you know, they have the power and agency today and in the future to kind of, well, not just contribute to their families or themselves, although those are good ideals, but also to society and the world, because, you know, as we kind of are hearing, we are running out of time to really to kind of save our world. So I mean, the urgency is there, and so again, there's so many organizations out there who are eager to kind of partner with schools. So just to be open to those partnerships as well.
Mr. Vizur?
Thank you. It's a nice question, actually. So I have worked as a teacher, and I have also worked as a solution designer. So I had the opportunity to work with children. So what I found, actually, children are very interesting. They are basically very interesting. They have very interesting way to solve problem. They have very interesting way to find a solution. And one of the things that we teach when we teach solution design or innovation, we teach people that think like a child. So because when you think like a child, when you think like a silly, like why this is happening, why this is actually working in, for example, innovation, I can give an example of innovation quick, which is when back in the time when the iPhone came in the market, they didn't came in with charged. Like, so someone asked the silly question, why my iPhone is not charged, fully charged, why I cannot use it right after I buy it from the shop. I just want to use it. So this is a silly question, and this is a childish question, and children have this kind of curiosity. And young teachers or teachers in general need to think about like, hey, our children have a different way to solve a solution. Maybe they can start doing some workshop or some session, give young children some challenges, and let's see how they actually try to solve something. And this is one thing that we need to realize first, that children are also the new innovator. And by meaning of children, I think like school, college level children. And this is how actually we can solve so many different social problem, also some technical problem as well. And we can see a lot of young activists are basically coming up nowadays. We saw Rita, we saw Malala, we saw different young people, school, college level young children are coming forward to solve some of the greatest development challenges. And I think we should also realize that. So this is the one suggestion I have for the teachers of now, new generation, actually. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that. And I know we're out of time, but to end this, I'll allow each of you to share a message. And in sharing that message, if you can very quickly, so that we really inspire everybody here. Can you tell one story of youth engagement in your organization? Be very specific about it, and probably the impact it had, whether to the community or even just to the volunteer or your organization member. Anybody would like to start?
Maybe I can go. So
Go ahead.
we have a young organization. Since I have talked about young solution, young change makers. So we have a young group. They are basically college level students and like 11 or 12 grade students. So they're working on a solution called polytail. So poly is polythene. We all know that, and tail in our language, in Bangla language, is oil. So they are kind of reverse engineering. So they are basically we all know that polythene is a byproduct of oil. So they thought, why not we do the opposite? Like, why not we transfer a polythene or to oil again? So do the opposite. So they are basically working on it. They are basically collecting the waste material like the polythene, plastic, those are kind of materials, and they are basically making oil out of it. So they are making furnace oil, and they're also making oil that can be replaced in the industry and also replaced in the cooking oil. Like instead of kerosene, you can buy their oil. Instead of furnace oil, you can buy their oil, and it's cheaper. And it's more durable, and also it is basically helping the community and environment as well. So this is very interesting solution that I can tell about. We have been working with solution designers. So we have so many different solutions that are coming from the young people. We have organizations who are basically working, collecting garbages from local community. I'm talking about garbage management because this is something that is difficult for young people to manage and handle. But we have also organization called Garbage Man in Bangladesh. They collect garbage from the local community. They are basically improving the supply chain of the garbage in Bangladesh and make sure they can improve the environment, improve the supply management system of the garbages. So there another organization. Also, we have organizations who are making dresses out of like recycled cloths. So I just focus in one area, which is waste management, recycling, circular economy. We have so many other organizations that are also working in this spectrum, working in the like eco-friendly traveling. We have organizations who are providing like low-cost clean drinking water in the community level. So this is our example, and this is basically done by young people like aged 15 to 20 years of old. They have come up with the idea during their college level, and they're working on it. So you asked me to give one example. I gave you so many, so sorry for
Yes.
that. But yeah,
No
but I just
problem.
want to share.
Thank you. Thank you. Nico?
Yeah, I guess for in terms of youth, if you just Google Ashoka Young Changemakers, you'll see so many inspiring stories. Yeah, of young people who are already creating so much impact in their communities. I think the one person that comes to my mind is now my colleague. So she's from Indonesia. Her name is Ara, and as a child, she as Mustafa Zor said, that she kept asking the why questions. So she was super curious. She grew up in a farm, so she was exposed to a lot of cows, and so she loved cows. But she was also wondering why the farmers were poor as well. So what she did was she created her own organization where farmers were able to talk to one another, and they were able to organize, and so that they were able to help themselves collectively, economically, and also as a community as well. And as for Ara, because I think Ashoka believes that young people should also be in charge. Ashoka involves these young change makers also in its processes, and really it's so trying to just to remove that hierarchy of I'm the older person, so you listen to me, but really bring them in conversation and how we can change and learn as an organization or as an organization as well. And so right now, Ara, who used to be a young change maker, is now my colleague in Ashoka Indonesia, and she's one of the managers there. She's actually managing the youth program right now, and so she's really also this person that we all look up to the organization. So it's really, we believe that young people can take charge in the present. They're not just the future of our world, but also the present, and that we should put them also in positions of power and really to learn from them.
Okay, thank you. Pepper?
Definitely. Wanna echo and a million times that sentiment of really putting the youth in power. And actually, I guess my one story sort of is related to that point as well. When I talk about Reaction now, after almost 2 years of running it, it seems as if it's always been this whole well-oiled machine that was prepared very well with all of the platforms in place, the volunteers mobilized. It was nothing like that in the very beginning. If anything, the story I'm going to share is how it looked like in the first few weeks of us running the Reaction program. And none of these things that you see now that I'm talking about were really solidified, but rather it was really just taking some of our most active and most eager volunteers at the time. And this was the time where quarantine was just announced. We just came into the whole pandemic situation. And we took some of the volunteers that we had and we talked to them and we said, what do we need to do? What is the most urgent thing that we need to do? And there were, of course, a couple of things that came up, right? People did not have access to food. Some people did not have access to water. And even more so, a lot of people, everyone did not have access to transportation at the time, at least here in our context in the Philippines. So it was quarantine. It was people were stuck in their homes, but there were some people who needed to get to places, for example, the hospital. So people who needed to get their medication, frontliners who needed to go to the areas they needed to go to, did not have the transportation to do so. And so we said, what can we do really quickly and just like right now, what can we do, even if we don't have necessarily the platform for it, the whole structure whatsoever? So actually, it started out with just being a WhatsApp group, a WhatsApp thread and a messenger thread wherein our volunteers, and at the time there were just 10, 15 of us, what we would do is we would create this database, and it wasn't the nicest looking sheet at all, but we'd look for the people who needed to get to hospitals because maybe they needed their medication, they needed their shots. And then we looked for volunteers who had passes at the time. I don't know if people from the Philippines remember, we needed those passes to really get around. And then we tried to connect them saying, hey, this person is headed to this area because they have a pass and they actually are going there. Could you drop them off to this hospital? And it was really just conversations happening in messenger chat. It wasn't like a whole system, fill up this form, no forms whatsoever. It was just volunteers asking the people that, where do you need to go? By when do you need your medication? And then asking the person, hey, can you please bring this person with you? And so that's what we were doing the first 3 months, even of the Reaction program. Nothing of these sort, later on we realized, okay, it would make sense to make this library of tasks whatsoever. But in the beginning, nothing of the sort was existent. I tell this story because I really like to mention how it wasn't always a well-oiled machine, but it became so because of the volunteers. And so my point to this is we co-built the program with them. It wasn't as if we woke up the next day after the quarantine was announced and said, we have this entire idea of what we're going to be doing for engagement. But instead, it was always asking them, what can you do? What is needed? Where can we help as a platform? And really emphasizing the fact that Make Sense as a platform is really a driver for other organizations and other people to do good work, to do important work. With that, my very last thing to say is really, please, I encourage you as teachers, as leaders yourselves, really foster and support the energy. If you find it in even just one youth member, if they say that I want to be involved in something, you have 3 wonderful organizations that just presented, please connect them to us because we really need that energy to co-build with them. That's it for me. Back to you, Raymond.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pepper. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Mustafa Pizur. This is great. This is really an inspiration for all of us attending here, and we will also be sharing this later, or posting this video on YouTube later this afternoon, so that you can other people who have not had the opportunity to join us live will be able to see it. But before we move forward, allow me to introduce Mr. Ratan Kumar Nag, who will be talking about social business and GSBS in general. Mr. Ratan Kumar Nag is currently working as the Managing Director of Grameen Shakti Samajik Diabosha. Previously, he was the Managing Director of Grameen Bank and one of the earliest associates of Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus since the project period of Grameen Bank. Mr. Nag also worked with Kashpur, Malaysia on deputation from 1997 until 1999, where he supervised Grameen replication projects in the Asia-Pacific region. He participated at various national and international seminars, symposiums, and conferences. Mr. Nag is a member of the board of directors of Grameen Shakti, and Grameen Krishi Foundation. He completed his master's in management from the University of Dhaka. Mr. Nag, please go ahead.
Good morning. I am Ratan Kumar Nag, Managing Director, Grameen Shakti Samajik Byabsa and former Managing Director of Grameen Bank. Please, you hear me? Raymond, you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good.
Oh,
Good.
okay. Now I will talk about the Global Social Business Summit. Global Social Business Summit is held every year. This year, the summit is co-organized by the Yunus Center, the Grameen Creative Lab, and Mount Kenya University. The theme of the summit is planting the seeds towards a new economy. Time is now. The summit is a hybrid event with physical programs in Nairobi, Kenya, and virtual program, both available on a virtual platform. You know, due to pandemic, we actually now depend on virtual program. This event will affirm its goal of promoting social business by focusing on rules of environment, sustainability, technology, microfinance, health, and sports in building a reform economy that can thrive within the existence of social business around the world. The event will also feature a discussion on the 3.0 Club, an initiative for the youth aimed at attending a world of 3.0, zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration for ending poverty, and zero unemployment through entrepreneurship. This club will facilitate young people in understanding the goal of 3.0 world, learning ways to achieve that goal, engaging themselves and networking among themselves. We already heard from Mustafiz about the 3.0 Club, his experience, and how it is running. Global social business will be addressed and potential solution will be proposed through GSBS 2021 program, which include workshop and plenary sessions with the objects of providing as enjoyable, interactive, and hands-on platform to enhance skill and knowledge among participants as well as empower them. The summit is a journey for 2 days, and tomorrow leaders, entrepreneurs, and creative contributors who want to utilize imagination and social fiction to improve the world. It will celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit and discover revolutionary ideas of social business enthusiasts from all over the world. Yunus Center and the Grameen Creative Lab look forward to expanding the prospects of social business around the world through this event. Actually, according to Dr. Mohammad Yunus, she always said GSBS is a family gathering. Every year we meet November first week, and it is according to him, better recharging for our Grameen family. So I hope next year we will be maybe physically meet if pandemic really pass. So we will meet each other, and this is the experience sharing forum for all Gamin families
Yes.
all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ratan. Thank you so much, and thank you to your entire staff and all the people from UNO Center and YY for supporting us in this Philippine Country Forum. Okay.
I just,
Now, yes, go ahead.
Raymond, I want to thank you, Andy and Maisha, to organize your country forum, and you give the best effort to success it. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you to you and Maisha as well. As we move forward, before we go to the plenary session 2, allow us some time. This is going to be like quick pitches of our of partner organizations of NWTF. There was a question in the chat earlier from Justin about how you can volunteer to NWTF. We will answer that later on as we go along, but I will also answer that towards the end of the program. But now allow us to introduce to you some of our partners, and later on it will be some of the social enterprises or the organizations that really involve youth engagement. Now, here are some of the introductions or the pitches from our partners.
Empowerment through microfinance, social business, and technology. Grameen Pilipinas Microfinance Incorporated. Professor Muhammad Yunus, Nobel Peace Prize winner and founder of Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, said, "Through social business and entrepreneurship, we can have a world of 3 zeros. Zero poverty, zero unemployment, zero net carbon." Inspired by his vision, various organizations rose following the Grameen model, and in 2011, a delegation from Grameen Australia, together with benevolent Filipino entrepreneurs, started a 2-year pilot program in the provinces of Rizal and Nueva Ecija that would be the foundation of GPMI. Grameen Australia Philippines was institutionalized in 2014, and on mandate of the government, Grameen Australia Philippines took on microfinance in its name, and in 2018 came to be known as Grameen Pilipinas Microfinance Incorporated, under the guidance of a largely Filipino board of trustees. The current management team is led by Vice President and CEO Randy Ovidio G. Lorica. Broadly speaking, microfinance institutions loan money to small businesses with a tiny interest. Beyond the money, what makes the Grameen model work is the integration of mentoring and technology for as long as the borrower is an active member of the organization. By providing access to new capital to small businesses, there is hope for startup entrepreneurs to have stable income, to provide for the needs of their families, to support their children, even themselves to school, to help them break out of the cycle of poverty. GPMI's commitment is not limited to helping entrepreneurs. Our mission journey leads us to actively take part in community building. The business growth of our borrower members translates to more jobs in their neighborhood, mostly for women who choose to stay at home to take care of their children. By linking the communities we serve to a network of suppliers and purchasers, the cost of production is lowered, the income is maximized, and the benefit is spread out to more families. To support entrepreneurs, GPMI offers 3 types of loan products. And the services it provides include a personal savings for the borrower and a life insurance that is also available to the members of the family. In the decades since we have been established as an organization, GPMI has been doing groundworks in the achievement of the 3-0 world espoused by Professor Muhammad Yunus. We are slowly building and fortifying our communities to make sure that the livelihood that we help create are truly sustainable and ecologically sensitive.
Hi, I'm Princess, and I'm the project manager of Walaosik Economy, a project funded by the Rethinking Plastics Circular Economy Solutions to Marine Litter, a project of the European Union and the German federal government. This project is piloted by PRRCFI, or Philippine Reef and Rainforest Conservation Foundation Incorporated. It is a local NGO based in Negros Occidental, which works towards the conservation and protection of our natural resources and the development of the communities who highly depends on this. Further on PRRCFI work, PRRCFI also recognizes that another threat to our natural resources is plastic pollution, and thus it is taking an action towards reducing the flow of plastics to the ocean. With its previous projects, PRRCFI was able to raise awareness to coastal communities in southern Negros through an interactive and experiential mobile museum called Fishbolan. It is designed, or Fishbolan is designed, to travel from one place to another with its goals to educate the community about plastic pollution or marine litter. Currently, PRRCFI is implementing a project called Walaosik Economy. Walaosik is a native phrase meaning nothing is wasted. It adapts the principle of zero waste and circular economy in the local context of Negros Island in the Philippines. This project has built on the pioneering work of PRRCFI with the Walaosik Sari-Sari stores, where 8 Sari-Sari stores or community convenience stores from that reduce single-use plastic packaging from fast-moving consumer goods were piloted. Wala Osik is translating into a campaign for waste reduction, circular economy, and climate action. Wala Osik is a behavior and system change from the bottom up for both consumers and for producers. With Wala Osik economy, we have and are currently implementing four main activities. A month-long campaign for the Wala Osik business development support with 113 applications from micro, small, and medium enterprises. We have selected 11 MSMEs that have decided to take up on the challenge of adapting Wala Osik innovations and introducing it to the community. They participated in a Wala Osik design thinking workshops. Design thinking workshop which help them build and prepare for their Wala Osik journey. The pioneer MSMEs have been deploying this innovation since July 2021 up until December 2021. These innovations are ranging from elimination of single-use plastic through the use of reusable bags and other reusable materials, deposit return schemes for cold brews and other beverages, shared reuse system by blending of containers such as subscription or for bulk purchases, and using of native packagings such as using banana leaves for shawarma wrap and coconut leaves for rice. Through the project, we have met inspiring and passionate applicants for the Wala Osik Challenge, a circular economy hackathon. It is a virtual hackathon with challengers from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Wala Osik Challenge, a circular economy hackathon, is a 48-hour hack where we have prepared mentoring sessions with our multi-sectoral mentors, talks on pitching and circular economy that greatly help the challengers prepare for their pitch day. On the last day, out of the 41 applications, 18 challengers, we have finally had the 5 winners, which not only won a seed fund, but they are also being incubated for their circular business plan, which will be presented on the demo day this January 2022. Wala Osik Economy is currently working on a toolkit or a guide for those who are still and are interested to start a Wala Osik business or their Wala Osik journey. Wala Osik Economy has also been promoting circular economy through social marketing and mainstreaming it and localizing circular economy in the context of the culture and language of the community around it. Wala Osik Economy, or PRRCFI, will continue its journey on advocating the conservation of our resources through projects, partnerships, and activities. Once again, I'm Princess. Stay safe and have a good day.
Yep. And as we move on to the second part of our country forum, first of all, I'd like to thank the speakers and the presenters again of the first plenary session. Such an inspiring time to hear about them. And hopefully, the second part of the forum will leave you just as inspired. So the first session talked about, organizations and their role in youth change making. And we shift a little bit this conversation now to academic institutions and their role in building young change makers. So we have 4 universities here with us today to talk about how they are engaging with their students to foster social change, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and also to tell us more about their programs and initiatives, and to talk about the important role of the youth today. With that said, I'll go right on to our first speaker. Let me introduce from the University of St. LaSalle here in Bacolod. We have Miss Rowena Graciano. She's a graduate of the University of St. LaSalle with a degree in Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurial Management in 2002 with a master's in business administration in 2008. She is a former Department of Trade and Industry analyst and a college professor for more than a decade now, teaching marketing management and entrepreneurship. Her passion in teaching and mentoring earned her an Agora Youth Management and an Agora Youth recognition as the Mentor of the Year in 2014 by the Philippine Junior Marketing Association. With training in results-based management, business plan and idea pitching, design thinking, social media marketing, business innovation, and entrepreneurship development, among many others, she has grown to love influencing people to pursue their highest potential. In 2019, she graduated from the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs Dream Builder course by Thunderbird School of Global Management in Glendale, Arizona. A facilitator, a mentor, and a social entrepreneurship advocate, everyone, Ms. Weng Graciano.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, NWTF and Sir Andy, for your invitation for us to share our good practices from the University of St. LaSalle. As you've heard, I'm from the University of St. LaSalle here in Bacolod City, the home of the green and white people. As they say, sorry. Let me fix that. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
thank you. As they say, we bleed and live green. So I'm here in front of you today, proud and happy to have the opportunity to share how are things with our university in terms of involving ourselves with the greening and the minds of the young of today, with fueling them with a burning passion to share their greenness with the rest of the humanity. Green represents the nature of life, and I'm proud that the color of your university wears. I'm happy to share some thoughts and insights with the rest of you today, hoping that in the few minutes, I will be able to touch your heart in one way or another. I will testify how we are taking those baby steps in creating blended value in the hearts and minds of today's generation. The iGen and what we call as the Generation Z are our students from aging 9 to 24 years old today, and they are already in their elementary and college levels. This very generation are the sets of individuals who are said to be focused on themselves, the I generation, but you will be surprised that according to peopleguru.com, Gen Zers are people who are social beings. They are connected most of the time. They spend 6 to 7 hours online. They're multitaskers. They can do several things at a time. They're considered as digital natives, as they are born in this day and age of the digital realm that made them tech savvy. They can just manipulate anything over the computer. This makes them as well interactive. They hate static things and they seek learnings. In fact, with their best friend Google, in a snap and a click, they can just provide us with any information. I am happy to know that Gen Zs are seen to be the people who are most likely to become entrepreneurs and philanthropists. However, at times they can lose focus, they can be cautious, but I am surprised because after so many years of teaching entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship, I have seen some social impact manifesting already. Take this as proofs. Here's Sophia, a third-year Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship, pitching her business plan about sustainable fashion. She believes that we do not need to buy expensive clothes and use them for a few times. And she can just buy some ukay-ukay or get some used clothes in her cabinet and convert them into sustainable fashion. According to her, and I quote, "I want to be socially responsible entrepreneur because I want to make a change by contributing a solution to help save our environment and to provide employment and opportunities to local communities in the Philippines." Here's Arnel. His passion is for food security, not just for today or for tomorrow's generation. And I quote, I am into sustainable business because we should be making an investment to make sure what we do is something we can rely on in the future. Our leaders continuously call for the implementation of the sustainable goals to mitigate the effects of centuries of unsustainable business practices. But because the actual implementation is too slow, we have to take the initiative by ourselves, according to Arnell. I choose hydroponics, a sustainable business for its own right, because I recognize food security will become a problem in the future and will continuously pop up due to climate disaster and a lot of land use, irresponsible land use in agriculture, while our population continue to increase. Arnell and Sophia are junior students and have been motivated to pursue social business practices for their business plans. How do we do it? Allow me to share OBE. For most educators, it stands for outcomes-based education. And this refers to the main thrust of our university for all courses. But today, OBE stands for opportunities. Our curriculum provided windows of opportunities for student entrepreneurs, not only in the area of profit winning, but also putting emphasis on social innovation and social impacting. Enrolling students as entrepreneurs have never been this rewarding as what we have discussed in the previous plenary. Compared to years way back, if not all students would pitch business plans, it would always be focusing on money profit. But today, with the likes of Arnell and Sophia, we can now say that I have touched the tip of the long time dream that I have in being able to produce socially conscious entrepreneurs. O is not just outreach anymore, but stands for opportunities with acknowledgement that there has a lot to be that there has a lot of emphasis also has to be given with enrichment, as we cannot give what we do not have. Thus, we need to fuel our hearts of our Lasallian youth with a heart for the humanity in order for them to be equipped in giving to others. B, for business innovation. In social entrepreneurship in University of St. LaSalle, we do not just emphasize the greening of the minds of the students, but we also get to put equal emphasis on the business side of social entrepreneurship, making sure that the students are well versed in terms of market awareness and the very nature of the customers that they serve. Entrepreneurial mindset is tagged as Entrep 101 as a course, and this is where we mold our students in the thinking of a true entrepreneur, that we do not just do business for profit alone, but instead focusing on people, planet, and profit, the way that the sustainable business should run. It's always natural for students to think of profit for doing business. And it's always a challenge for them to think or influencing them to include the other two P's, the people and the planet. Take take this project innovation, the business innovation project of our students, positivity. This is one project by which we emphasize business innovation. For in it, we get to open the eyes and the emotional quotient of our students for societal problems that needs to be addressed. We use different techniques and tooling or retooling our faculty members in the areas of business thinking, business innovation and design thinking. We emphasize that techie is innovative, but providing solutions and disruptions are even way more creative. Positivity is a social entrepreneurship project of our entrepreneurship students amidst the pandemic. These projects advocates mental health for students during the coronavirus pandemic. It aims to promote mental health wellness through a social project, a social cause to serve the community during the lockdowns. Our students were given a challenge to think of how they can influence the community despite of being locked down, and they were inhibited, they were prohibited to engage physical face-to-face interactions. This is where they thought of advocating for mental health awareness, and that in their project, they get to paint their mental health awareness inspired pots with their advocacies towards achieving mental health. Our students surprised us with this project that with the 70% of their income, they were able to share it to the community pantries, where a lot of people during that time, sometime May or April, have been lining up to community pantries in Bacolod. With that, the students were able to get some media mileage, and they were really surprised because they did not thought that a lot of people will appreciate their act of kindness. At the end of the activity, their learnings focused on realizations about doing business and creating social impact. E, embracing Lasallianes. Being the Lasallians that we are, taking from the teachings of our founder, Saint John Baptist de La Salle, seeking the help of the Almighty to teach us to seek Jesus' face in the last, the lost, and the least. As one Lasallian community, we instill in the hearts and minds of our students to live by the example of our founder. We continuously collaborate with our social development office, the Balayan, in order for us not to lose our connection in the entire De La Salle Philippines community development framework. For when we do, our students get to maximize the proper guidance in setting up linkages with the national government agencies and the local government units. To end, I am proud that our social consciousness is manifested through our recent entry to the national competition in product innovation of Concentrix. It's the annual My Own Version of Excellence, where USLS will be vying for the Grand Championship this coming November 15. Our team bested schools from all parts of the country. This team pitched to innovate our, sorry for that. Our team pitch to come up and innovate Prostextic. It's a prosthetics leg from textiles and used plastic PET bottles. And we hope that we will be able to take on the challenge of being known as one of the innovative schools in the Philippines. I leave you today with the challenge that it is our desire to inspire today's youth to have heart for our country and our humanity, that we may continue to contribute in pitching solutions for so many disruptions and maybe make this world a better place to today's generation, seeking to continuously go green and continue to engage in greening the lives of people. We will not achieve all this if not for the support of the loving parents of our students, our university, and this institution. And of course, the heart of our students for the change. These and many more are our lifelong pride that no matter how challenging things are in educating the youth today, we will still move forward and continue on our passion. I leave you today with 1 Corinthians 15 verse 58, which says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord." Thank you very much for allowing me to share what we are doing in University of St. La Salle. This has been Rowena Graciano, and I am the department chair for the Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship of our university. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Weng. Thank you for the inspiring presentation. It definitely makes me feel proud to be a fellow Lasallian. And as Arnel really put it there in your presentation, we have to take the initiatives ourselves. So we hope to see more students like Arnel and Sophia with their businesses really having that social aspect. And let me, we'll have time for questions later. So anyone, if you have questions or comments, I encourage you to type them down in the chat and we'll get to them later. We'll move on to the next presenter from the Carlos Hilado Memorial State College. I have the pleasure of introducing Sir Roderick Samonte. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication from the University of St. LaSalle, Bacolod as well. He has a Master of Arts in Sustainable International Development from the Heller School for Social Policy and Management in Brandeis University in Massachusetts. He also served as a Feldman Visiting Professor and Research Fellow. And now he is the Director for External Affairs for the Carlos Hilado Memorial State College. He is also the chair for the Greening CAMSI Task Force. And joining him today are two young leaders from CAMSI as well, Mr. Sherwin Makahilig and Ms. Jaziel Becerra. Welcome, guys, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you for that kind introduction, and good day everyone. Maayong aga, maayong adlaw sa inyo tanan. To start with, I'd like to share a very short, where is it? Nakita niyo. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, thank you. So I'll start first with a quick video of our institution.
Mabuhay! Welcome to Carlos Hilado Memorial State College. Let's get to know CAMSI first.
Before Carlos Hilado Memorial State College, there was
Negros Occidental School of Fisheries in Binalbagan in 1952.
Negros Occidental School of Arts and Trades in Talisay in 1954.
Bacolod City National Trade School in Barangay Alitis, Bacolod City in 1968.
And Negros Occidental Provincial Community College within the grounds of Negros Occidental High School, Bacolod City in 1970.
In 1983, Negros Occidental School of Arts and Trades, which later became Negros Occidental College of Arts and Trades, Bacolod City National Trade School, and Negros Occidental Provincial Community College, which found a home in Fortune Town, Barangay Estefania, Bacolod City, amalgamated into one state college known as Baglaong State College.
In 1994, Baglaong State College was renamed Carlos Hilado Memorial State College in honor of Congressman Carlos A. Hilado, who authored Republic Act 848, which created the Negros Occidental School of Arts and Trades.
In 2000, Negros Occidental School of Fisheries became part of the system of Carlos Hilado Memorial State College.
By virtue of Republic Act 11336, signed into law in 2019, Carlos Hilado Memorial State College is on a continuing journey towards becoming a state university in the province of Negros Occidental.
Our vision is to be a leading green institution of higher learning in the global community by 2030.
Our mark of distinction as an institution is green, which stands for the following:
KAMSI stands for the principles of good governance.
KAMSI strives to become a research-oriented and extension-driven institution.
KAMSI seeks to champion education for sustainable development.
KAMSI wants to contribute to nation building and social transformation.
Thus, green.
Our mission? We are a green institution committed to empower the youth and lifelong learners who will contribute to nation building and global transformation through quality instruction,
Inclusive and creative teaching learning pedagogies,
relevant research,
social innovation,
dynamic partnership,
and active civic engagement.
in a conducive and fulfilling environment for students, faculty, staff, and partners.
Our fundamental beliefs that guide us as we go about our mission are found in our 5 core values of
Excellence, a commitment to give one's best and to do what is always right at all times.
compassion, a desire and willingness to help others in times of distress and suffering.
Environment, a conscious effort to promote love and care for the environment.
Love of country, the use of one's talent, knowledge, and skills to contribute to the sustainable development of the Philippines.
And service. One's life is dedicated to fulfill a sense of purpose and mission.
In short, excels.
Throughout one's educational journey and experience at Carlos Hilado Memorial State College, a CAMSIAN will be attributed as
A competent worker,
a compassionate being,
environmentally responsible,
a nation builder.
and an engaged citizen,
Green CAMSI excels, empowering citizens
and shaping dreams for
for
a sustainable world.
Okay. So that's a quick introduction to our humble institution. And I'd like to present to you some of our programs which promote social change and entrepreneurship. So first, in terms of the curricular offering, we have a BS in entrepreneurship at the College of Business Management and Accountancy in our Fortune Town campus. And then, of course, entrepreneurship is offered either as a course or integrated in core courses in different programs of the following colleges under our arts and sciences, computer studies, education, engineering, fisheries, and industrial technology. If there's only one college does not offer any NCHEP program, and that is our College of Criminal Justice. Another flagship program of the institution is Greening CAMSI, which is actually a continuing journey of transforming the institution towards sustainable development principles and practices. This was initiated by our late President, Renato M. Sorolla, way back in 2012 as a commitment to the UN Decade of Education for Sustainable Development. And currently, we are transforming the following areas to become green: our community extension work, green community, our culture inside the campus, our practices and operations, our curriculum, our research, and of course, the promotion of technology, us being an industrial technology institution originally. And of course, aside from the promotion of greening CAMSI in all these areas, we have to see to it that these are reflected in our actual ways and practices, especially at the level of our offices and workstations, faculty rooms, facilities. That's why we have the 7 R's of green offices, which we constantly monitor so that we practice the 7 R's of reduce, recycle, reuse, refuse, repair, restore, and rethink. And of course, we've integrated in our management of offices the 5 S, the sort, setting in order, shine, sustain, and then standardize. And we believe that our advocacy for green should be manifested in our actual practices. And the important part which where we can all create an impact on is our waste management. So we've relaunched this last March of 2021, where we've strengthened our ecological waste management system and practices along with the Republic Act 9003. And we have already strictly enforced no to plastic policy ever since, no, in 2017. But this time we put more teeth into our policy. And of course, another big component of our program that encourages our students to become social change agents, active in entrepreneurship, is a training program called Ripples. I'd like to invite our student trustee, Giselle, to say some few things about our Ripples training camp.
Hi, good morning. I am Michelle Grace de Vicera, a fourth-year student in BS in Industrial Technology, major in Food Trades Technology. I am currently the president of our campus student government in Ali Hills campus and the student representative to the school's board of trustees. Carlos Hilado Memorial State College gives due importance to the role and potentials of its student leaders. Since 2017, the school has institutionalized a 7-day training program for all student leaders called Ripples Training Camp. Ripples stands for Responsive, Innovative, Proactive, and Passionate Leaders by Examples and for Social Change. Through this mandatory training before the start of every academic year, we are empowered and capacitated to become leaders who create ripples of positive change in school and society. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Giselle. And of course, aside from the training camp, which is an investment of our school for our student leaders, we have also active responses to promote our core values, which will be shared by our campus president here, student government president in Talisay campus. Sherwin?
So hello, good morning. My name is Sherwin J. Makahilig, a fourth-year student with a degree in Bachelor of Special Needs Education. I am currently the president of our campus student government in the main campus, and I also work as a student staff at the Center for External Affairs. To be able to demonstrate our core values of compassion, love of environment and country, and service, we have created 2 platforms for acts of giving and serving involving faculty, staff, students, and our partners. So these are KAMSI Cares and KAMSI Anihan. KAMSI Cares is our collective way of showing care and compassion to fellow Kamsians and their family members who are in need of help and assistance, mainly due to health problems. And KAMSI Anihan is a portmanteau of the words KAMSI and Bayanihan, the Filipino spirit of communal solidarity, teamwork, and cooperation in times of difficulties. Through KAMSI Anihan, we collectively respond to help alleviate the plight of families and communities caught in crisis situations such as fires, typhoons, floods, and the current COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you very much, Sherwin. And as mentioned by Sherwin, in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic, another very important collective response that we've made in partnership with the Commission on Higher Education is the creation of our KAMSI Safe products in time of COVID-19, where through our research and extension and community services programs, we've produced scented soaps, the soap bar, liquid soap, safe mask, face mask, and a safe suit for frontliners, medical health workers. This is a project funded by CHED with the participation of our community partners, selected faculty, and student volunteers. And all of these products are currently being produced and distributed to our students, faculty, staff, and community partners and frontline health workers. And then, of course, recently we were awarded by a grant from the DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, to the creation of the NOC Delight, which is called the NOC Delight, Negros Occidental Center for Design, Entrepreneurship, Leadership, Innovation, Good Ideas, Human Development, and Technology Transfer. This is actually a synergy of our College of Business Management and Accountancy, College of Computer Studies, College of Engineering, College of Industrial Technology, Center for External Affairs, our research center, our extension and community services, intellectual property office, our business affairs office, the physical plant development and management office, all under the supervision of the Office of the Vice President for Research and Extension. And we envision that center to be a platform for the promotion of social enterprise in the province of Negros Occidental in partnership with the DTI. So currently, we are still awaiting for the final completion of the facility. Not the equipment have already been transferred to CAMSI, and soon before the year ends, we hope to launch and open the center so that the student entrepreneurs and small and medium entrepreneurs can really avail of the shared service facility and the programs and services that we will be offering. So our plans for the future, currently CAMSI is in the process of reviewing and updating its strategic plan starting 2022 up to 2040 aligned with the ambition natin 2040. And along this strategic direction are the following: to continue to champion education for sustainable development and to intensify the SDG awareness of our students and faculty and staff, strengthen the teaching and practice of green and circular economy, institutionalize our service learning as part of academic programs in all colleges, not only a few, and of course to offer new and innovative programs in all our campuses, including the 2 new campuses being developed right now, one in EB Magalona and another one in Binalbagan. And of course, we foresee that Knock Delight to be fully operational and made accessible to all small entrepreneurs. For resources, of course, we still need the following: continuing retooling and upskilling of our faculty, additional pool of experts, partners, and collaborators, especially to help us bridge the gap in our operations and practices and systems. And of course, funding, external funding that does not rely on government resources to support research and engagement. And in terms of resources that we can offer, as we have said, in the area of social change and entrepreneurship, our Knock Delight facility is one platform that we hope to offer to the general public. Of course, our human resources, faculty, students, and the graduates, knowledge and technology. So I think that's all for now that we can share as far as CAMSI is concerned in the promotion of social change and entrepreneurship. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to us to share our own humble contribution to sustainable development in our part of the world. Salamat.
Thank you also, Sir Roderick, and thank you, Sherwin and Giselle. It's really amazing to see, CAMSI truly being a green institution for social change, and it's great to hear directly from the students as well. We'll move on to our next academic institution, and we'll move on to the Technological University of the Philippines in Visayas. Presenting for them will be Dr. Donalyn Guerrero Lastima. She is a registered and licensed guidance counselor. She's a registered and licensed psychometrician. She is a licensed professional teacher who graduated with a Major of Arts in Education, Major in Guidance and Psychology at the West Negros University in Bacolod, and finished her Doctor of Philosophy Major in Psychology at the University of Negros Occidental Recoletos. And she is now an assistant professor at the TUPV. Everyone, again, Dr. Donalyn Lastima.
Happy morning, everyone. Let me thank first the Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation for inviting Technological University of the Philippines Visayas as one of the presenters in this 2021 Global Social Business Summit. We proudly present to you TUP Visayas. We care, we are the technology in motion. I will present two of the many significant contributions of TUP Visayas to create positive change in the community. TUP Visayas ensures the quality, technological, education by molding our students to be excellent, and not only excellent in engineering and technology, but also values-oriented engineers and technologists. We emphasize the importance of social responsibility and community involvement, as they are equally important to one's academic success. So TUP envisions to become a premier state university with recognized excellence in engineering and technology at par with leading universities in the ASEAN region. Also, it is our mission to provide higher and advanced vocational and technical, industrial, technological, and professional education and training in industries and technologies. So in practical arts leading to certificates, diplomas, and degrees. I would like to emphasize that TUP also it's part of the mission of our university to provide progressive leadership in applied research, developmental studies, and technical, industrial, technological fields and production using indigenous materials, effects technology transfer in the countryside, and assist in the development of small and medium scale industries in identified growth centers. Historian Arthur Schlesinger said, "Science and technology revolutionize our lives." Do you agree? But memory, tradition, practices may frame our response. So it is our response in TUP Visayas to advocate environment, to protect Mother Earth and be an advocate of environment by Likas. Likas is an organization, student organization, Laban para sa Inang Kalikasan. It aims to, it encourages students to be an advocate of environmental care, awareness, natural resource preservation, and of course, for sustainable development. So here are, this is our student officers under Likas, and of course with their advisors, Engineer Ramniel Jan Abeto and Engineer Giovanni Spaniola. Despite the pandemic, Likas have been conducting several activities for the students, like for example, the poster making contest for students. So the students share their poster through social media platforms. Also, they have conducted National Climate Change Consciousness Week and National Environmental Awareness Month through, of course, different activities such as digital poster, post a picture, among others, photo blog, among others. So these are the samples of the outputs of our students. And of course, see how happy they are to receive their prize. Aside from that, Likas also conducted a series of talks in relation to environmental sustainability. This one is a talk on environmental laws and ethics from DNR Senro Bago. Also, we have invited resource persons from Mangrove Matters PH to talk about mangroves and the climate justice coming from Youth for Climate Hope. This is also one webinar. Also, we have conducted two important webinars during the Earth Day 2021. One is a talk on restoring our Earth by Ma'am Teresa Robles from DNR Penro Negros Occidental, and our international speaker, Miss Hannah Clara, MD, the founder of Nepada Wildlife, who talked about protecting biodiversity and mitigating climate change. So of course, we did not only limit to talk, but also we encourage our students to engage in campus environmentalism through ornamental gardening, not only in the campus, but also outside the campus, tree planting activities with, of course, limited number of students engaging in these activities with all the safety protocol. And this one is a virtual tree planting. So we encourage students to take a photo of themselves while they're planting a tree in their backyard or in the nearby vacant lot to participate in the virtual tree planting activity. So we also engage our students to join Earth Hour 2021, turn off the lights and turn on the stars. So these are the outputs of our students. They took a photo of themselves, then give it to us as a proof. Apart from that, we also conducted a talk about it how important it is to conserve energy and all that stuff. We also participated in the Earth Day 2021 with all the activities like virtual cycling, virtual tree planting. We also conducted environmental quiz and advocacy campaign such as that. So this is the the proof that we had conducted activities such as that. Also, aside from Bike for the Environment, we also encourage our students that TUP Visayas supports our students with their virtual biking to join the international call on suicide awareness and prevention. This is in relation to mental health. Okay, so of course, our students also conducted several donation drives. This one is a donation drive initiated by Likas to help affected families of flash floods in Talisay City in January. Apart from that, they also created means to raise funds, such as creation of these t-shirts and selling them to their fellow students in order to support their activities. And at the same time, the proceeds also were given as part of the donations. All right, so moving on, this is the second part that I'm so excited to share to you, the project Thrive, initiated by TUP Visayas. Project Thrive actually is a project that aims to uplift the living conditions of indigenous people in Barangay Villasin in Cadiz City, Negros Occidental, through tech transfer, skills development, research, and extension. So this is actually the location of the Ata Manara Indigenous Peoples Community in Cadiz. And yes, these are their locations. UP Visayas managed to visit there and check on their needs and fortunately be of help to the community. So Thrive stands for technology and innovation. So by technology, we mean that TUP Visayas will be, along with the Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation, will be giving or creating a water supply for Ata Manara. And this is actually the actual site visit. So we will be providing the solar powered water pumping system for the community, since it's been a long time that they haven't had the water is far from the community, and then they're having a difficult time when they need water. Thrive also means human rights-based approach. So we would want to look into the basic rights or the basic needs rather of the community and see how we can help. So this one is an actual donation of TUP Visayas for the community. We have donated at least 30 steel chairs for the IP children. Look at their smiles, how happy they were when they received their chair. And also a pair of slippers now can go an extra mile and can give them an extra smile as well. So these slippers came from sponsors. We also would want to conduct research collaboration with the IP community. And yes, this one is Indigenous Peoples Education. In TUP Visayas, we have an elective subject, IP or Indigenous People. So we'd want to enrich the curriculum so that our students will also appreciate and somehow think of these marginalized sectors when they create technology or develop a technology when they become engineers. We also value IP well-being, so we look into their well-being if they need a mental health talk or a talk on gender sensitivity. So we from the academy, we give our services for them. And this one is very important extension program, since this IP community, they have their livelihood, but I think it's not sustainable. So TUP Visayas would want to explore more on extension programs that could uplift the lives of people in this community. So with that, I would like to take this opportunity to share a very short video presentation of how TUP Visayas impact the lives of IP in the community. May I request the technical support to please play our short video. Thank you very much.
Ang tubig, isa ka elemento sang kalibutan nga ginhatag sang Dios para sa kaayuhan sang tawo, para sa hapos nga pagpangabuhi diri sa kalibutan. Pero paano kung ang tubig mismo ang isa sa kabudlayan nga ginapasan sang amon tribo? Kag ini ang amon ginaagyan.
Ang amon kat ginikanan sa una kundi intong maayo obra ato. Di ka kanon kami sa dalan. Nagkadlaw na sila sa amon kay masiling na sila. Oh, ara ng mga badyaw. Di inaguro na sila mangayo kayo. Sakit kay ang amon mga bata way namon ginabuhi sa pangayo kayo. Kapangabudlay kami kapatulo singot parang magpaon ng mga bata. Pero wala lang kami. O sige lang. Sige lang, ang pagpakanubuan sa amon, basi pa maabot ang adlaw kung may gitiga naman ang Diyos sa amon, kung may maluoy sa amon.
Ako si Patricia Francisco, 63 ang edad. Ang problema ko, ang tubig. Kung magmasakit ko, di mabangon pa ko kung makabog tubig. Paglambot ko dire, pag hida na lang ko dahil sa akong banig. Muna ang problema ko ang tubig. Eh makadto pa ko sa dalom, di paglambot ko, wala nang pamasyag mo.
Ako gali si Dulpo Panggabasan, IP Community Leader in charge. Ang problema namon diri sa sulod sa community, tubig gid ang amon nga kinahanglan. Ay una nakita naton ang makaluoy ang mga kabataan nga gagmay kay bisang galunan, bisang mga container, bisang hindi pagid na kaya nila, kayahon nila ang pagdala sa mga container. Di amo nang isa ka mas maayo gani nga nakaupod na nakabisita man di ang aton mga grupo sa TUP. Nakakita gid sila sa mayroong problema diri sa amon atong community sa Tribo Ata community.
I'm going to start with an analogy. There was a teacher, actually, an anthropologist teacher, asked by the student what is the first sign of civilization, and anticipating an answer like pottery or weapons, something like that. Actually, surprised by the answer of a teacher that the first sign of civilization is a femur, it's a thigh bone that was broken and healed. The main point, actually, the first sign of it is helping one another. That's staying and helping together to build up a community, and at the same time the whole entire civilization. Ang TUP Visayas, with its the mandate to extend its capacity, technical capacity, technology to the countryside. This is exactly what we're doing. We're putting up a solar water system that will be put up in the Ata tribe in Sitio Manara, Barangay Bilasin, Cadiz City. Kagang ining project actually there will be partners actually that will be involved, the Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation and some other local government unit partners that will help us build the water distribution system and the CR para sa babae kag para sa lalaki together with ang ilang palaliguan. Ang question ko lang, dili ka mo nagpaligo?
Oo.
Dire man.
Why na di?
Why there? Ilim na lang. Dire ka mo paligo. Pwede mo ta kabutang, pwede mo ta kaliwat to tayo sa structure to dito ta pwede ka yung structure nga dito may lang. And then naman ang supply ito para sa oasis.
Abisan ba na kumagano ang tubig?
Bisan magkukot sa kaon lang.
Pwede na, bisan magko lang. Pero ganyan mga size lang.
Para sa akon, importante gid ang tubig, especially sa amon nga mga estudyante. Siyempre, layo ang amon nga kuluhan tubig. Pag bugtaw namon sa aga, imbis nga amon ihimos sa para sa amon balon, di kay layo ang suba, makadto pa mi sa suba para magligo. Di amon na nga kisaga ka-late kami tungod ang amon ginaagwadahan, ginapaliguan, layo-layo pa. Sa amon nga family, ang akon mama masakit, di na kapamugat maayo, tapos akong papa pod gapang obra mga handicrafts, tapos kung layo ang tubig, siyempre grabe gid nga kabudlay. Kung maabot na ang project nga ng tubig, dako gid ako nga kalipay, kay siyempre kung wala tubig galibog ang akon ulo kung paano naman kami.
Ang NCIP dako gid ang kalipay nga magluwas nga nagaselebrar kita, no? Pero do ariyo do amat-amat ane, no? Lakpak eh. Amo gani nga siling ko, kami sa NCIP nagakalipay sang inyong kalipay. Ang inyong kalipay sugpuna namon ti taas gid ako ginato nga kalipay, no? Kaysa din paagi sa aton nga mga partners, no? Mga kaupod. Labi na gid sa TUP, nagtinguha sila nga makasulisit, no? Makabangayo man bulig sa ibang nga sektor.
My name is Andy Coscaluela. I'm with Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation. We're largely a microfinance institution and also do a lot of developmental work. We've partnered with TUP Visayas under the premise of uplifting the communities that we work in and pushing social entrepreneurship to the students. For this particular project, I think our shared vision of uplifting communities put us together to bring water access and sanitation to the IP community. We believe that access to clean and safe water is a basic and universal human right. That's why we're so excited to work with TUP and providing solar water pumps and sanitation facilities here to create more social entrepreneurs, and we will continue to find projects to work together and enrich people's lives.
Hoping that we come up with a fund para we can actually extend it to the other areas in this community. And I guess napasalamat ko sa NCIP together with the tribe council in this community, the Ata tribe, and TUP Visayas, and together with our partners actually to helping this realize the whole entire project. I am appealing. This is not only for TUP Visayas. We are only into technology innovation. Come up with a good and reliable solar system, small PV water system. I am really appealing. Together, we can actually come up with a good project for this tribe.
All right, so that's it. So we hope that you will also be our partner in responding to the needs of marginalized sector, especially the IP community. Thank you very much, Sir Andy.
Thank you, Doc Don, and thank you, TUP. Really, truly bringing technology to the countryside. With that, I'll move on to our final speaker for this plenary session. But stay with us, because after that we will have an open discussion with the speakers, and after that we'll show you examples of young people taking on the initiative for social change. So our final speaker is from Foundation University in Dumaguete City. Cyril Mapula comes from Dumaguete City. He graduated with a degree in political science and finished a crash program for secondary education. He is currently pursuing his master's in public administration at Foundation University. Over the years, he has been teaching social sciences and business subjects. He was also involved in marketing and recruitment initiatives of Foundation University. Recently, he led the development and implementation of an idea generation subject called T, that's Technology, Environment, and Entrepreneurship. T guides students to create business solutions that address community problems and also help achieve the UN SDGs. Together with 3 other founders, Cyril also co-founded Negros Spokes, an organization that aims to make Negros Island the social entrepreneurship hub of the Philippines. Over to you, Sai.
Yep. Thank you, Sir Andy. So hopefully we could have ask some help for my slides and the BPF. So quick sharing lang. This country forum is more of a parang timeline check for Foundation University, because the first time we got involved with the event is we're still conceptualizing the programs the program that we are sharing this morning. So Foundation University has been helping students to become change makers. We strongly believe that as an academic institution, we are not only responsible for the education of our students, but we also should be an inspiration for them so that they will become change makers. And that doesn't stop there also. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes, just a quick background lang of Foundation University and why we are doing these things. So our vision, we envision ourselves to become a dynamic, progressive environment that cultivates effective learning and generates creative ideas that responds to societal needs and offers opportunity for all. So this vision could be seen in the project that we are going to share later on. Our mission is to enhance and promote a climate of excellence relevant to the challenges of times, where individuals are committed to the pursuit of new knowledge and lifelong learning in service of society. Next slide, please. So I think it would be good for us to put into context what FU is doing. So FU doesn't only want students to be inspired. We want to guide students to become change makers. And I think this is something that other academic institutions may need a little bit to have to catch up on, because inspiring students is not enough anymore. When we inspire them, we also guide them to become change makers. We should equip students with tools that will allow them to create positive social change, in our case, through enterprise-led development. So very specific tools that will allow students to basically conceptualize, ideate, and even validate the ideas they have come up. Next slide, please. So I think the question for us would be how? How is the university equipping students with these tools and skills, even knowledge, to create social enterprises or to create business, basically? So next slide. Foundation University, I think over the past 1.5 years, has been doing this program. It's called Technology, Entrepreneurship, Environment. I think Sir Andy shared it earlier. Basically, it's an semestral idea generation course where all students of Foundation University are required to go through, regardless of what their course is or what their which department they belong. So everybody, even if your course is criminology, even if your course is nursing, or whatever your specialty is, you need to go through the subject. So if you could take a look on the first 4 parts of the program, we are introducing the SDGs, social enterprises, social business, and even social enterprise immersion to our students. So basically, we want to give them an idea on what is happening right now, on what are the current trends, on how business could basically usher in development. The traditional businesses maybe is not how do I say this? It's not the way of doing things anymore. And then even maybe it's not the way of doing things anymore. That social enterprises, social businesses are should be the ways to move forward. And next with that, or the next part, you could see the process of guiding students in creating ideas, systems thinking, and design thinking. These are the tools that we say is different in our idea generation class compared to others, because we just don't ask students to create ideas out of nowhere. We guide them in creating these ideas. I would like to share my screen. Maybe you could have the screen, sir. Off. I share my screen. Just a quick example of what we do for systems thinking and design thinking. We have this is the mural of one of the activities that we do. So basically, we guide students in conceptualizing ideas, from understanding the challenge, for empathy, to understand the journey of people whom their solutions will be deployed to, in ideating. So basically, we want to guide students in not only just creating an idea. We want the students to see how their ideas will affect the people who are going to use it, or on the other way around, how people who are probably using or experiencing the problems would affect the ideas that they are going to create. Then we also want them to see how the journey of these people experiencing the problems affect the whole perspective. We just don't want, again, students to conceptualize out of nowhere. I think what's important for a university is to guide students on this journey, because inspiration itself could be a great first step, but if you just allow it to become an inspiration and you do nothing, then I think for teachers or for us in the academy, that might be sort of a failure. So I'll show an output by one of our group of students. So this is one of the bags they developed. The difference with the development of these bags compared to the traditional way of conceptualizing the business is that instead of looking first on the profit side, or looking first on the money side, we ask students to take a look on the journey of those people using plastic bags in markets. So we ask them, and we ask them to try to understand, why are these people keep on using plastics? And they realize that not all of these people using them are really into the plastics. They want alternative options. However, there is a very specific characteristic of a bag or alternative that they want to use. So with that specific knowledge, the students created an eco bag made out of jeans, where it's big enough, because according to the specific target market they want it to be big enough and durable. So this is one way of Foundation University guiding students in creating business ideas that address problems around them. We can return to our slide. So the TEEP program is, like other programs, it's not a perfect program yet. And I'd like to echo on what the speakers on the first plenary shared, that everything did not happen instantly, like everything was okay. I think Pepper also mentioned that earlier. It was a process. So on the first version of the T program, we wanted it to be a program that produces business right away. So systems thinking isn't there, and we wanted to dwell more on the finances. And then we realized for second semester that students are not creating products that address problems, because we lack tools that will guide them to dig deeper and put problems into perspective. So this semester, we added, next slide please, systems thinking. So with systems thinking, I like to have a shout out with Ashoka, youth years, Sir Andy also. They help us to incorporate systems thinking into our program. So Terry of Fire Tree also help us with this. Because on the first version of T, we just let them do design thinking, which sometimes students cannot really relate to the problem, even if it is already localized, even if they experience the problem, um, and even if it's present in their communities, they still don't understand it. So we needed systems thinking to help them understand not only the tip of the problem, but until the deepest models or the deepest parts of the problem they can understand. And that's when we saw improvements of the outputs of our students. So next slide, please. So these are some of the outputs of our idea generation class. Bamboo Go PH is a product that creates alternative how do I say this? Alternative packaging materials for businesses, because they realize that you cannot just educate people to not to use plastic, but you also need to build capacity for businesses to have these specific products available for them. There's also Bahandi. This is an architecture program or an architecture student social enterprise idea. And this is very great. It's a perfect example where not only business students can create business ideas, even architecture students could have their ideas developed. So Bahandi basically focuses on trash created by the construction industry, and they would like to minimize those trash or those waste created by the construction industry by creating programs or platforms that will beforehand identify where possible waste could be produced. And even if there's already waste, they will still find ways to create new products out of those waste, because compared to other industries, waste from construction has better chances of being recycled. So next slide, please. Also, we are equipping our students with skills in presentation and pitching. So even if we are doing this virtually, even if we are doing this in our houses, we still try to give students the opportunity to learn and to grow. And I think that's important, because if we just put a program right away for students without them fully understanding it and without them develop skills, then the program, I think, will not be very successful. So they have also exposures on the next slide, where international events like the Social Business Academia Forum that we had our students also join and participate, so that they will know that the things they're doing are not only exclusive to them, but there are a lot of groups that are already trying to create business solutions to address problems around them. So what's next for Foundation University and our plans? Next slide, please. So next slide, please. So unlike the previous universities that we had, next slide, we are not funded by the government. We are a private institution. So these are actually pictures of the pitching sessions of our students. Sir Andy was one of the judges of those of the competition. And hopefully by end of the year, some of the products will be launched also. So let's go to the last slide. Yes. So compared to other universities who presented earlier, FU is a private university, smaller. We are taking a little bit slower in terms of developing some of our programs that geared towards social entrepreneurship and social business. But hopefully by next year, we'll have a full-blown business incubation program where a lot of players in industry, even in private or public sector, will be put together. So I think the T program that we have is a very good foundation where we have constant influx of ideas from our students, and we are also equipping our students. And it doesn't end from there. We are looking at expanding the program towards senior high schools and other schools in Negros Oriental. We strongly believe that the T program is not only for Foundation University, but it should be shared to other institutions. Any business incubation program will not survive if it only relies on the ideas within its university or within its premises. It needs to, should I say, cultivate the ideas outside of its premises. So I think that's the bulk of the project of Foundation University. T program is a really good way for us to see and gauge the level of ideas and involvements of our students. So I think by next year and by the end of the year we'll have better outputs, and hopefully by next year we'll have our own incubation program. And I'd like to open the door for collaborations with other universities. We'd love also to share what we are doing, and the thing is that we been testing, so that when we collaborate, we can check our outputs. When we collaborate, we could verify or validate the things that we do. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sai. And that I'd like to invite the speakers for a quick Q&A. I apologize, we're running a little bit over time, so we'll try to limit it to just a few questions. But if anyone has questions, just please feel free to type them in. But anyway, let me lead off with the first question. There, we all know the really important role universities have to play in shaping and molding young change makers. And then I'd just like to link it also to the first plenary session, where there are a lot of programs already out there also for the youth. So I'd like to ask, how can universities leverage on the program organizations out there, like Make Sense, like the 3-0 Club, like Ashoka? How can universities leverage on those programs, or how can they find synergies with those programs to increase even youth engagement and action? Yep. Anyone can go ahead.
I think I'll answer it first. We've been working with Make Sense and Ashoka for quite some time already, with NWTF also. And what we saw in terms of student participation and leveraging these organizations is that primarily we have these organizations as sort of the inspiration level, or the inspiration part of the T program, where we see that where our students see that some students from other places are also doing these things, and it's not impossible for them to do it. Because that's the biggest challenge that we have, when students do not do it because they think they cannot or nobody is doing it. And when they relate already, and when there is already a sort of empathy, or there's connection, then that's when we channel students. We had a student way back, I think it's 2019, when we had an event here with FPU, with NWTF and Make Sense. We just introduced the students to them. Then the student joined a lot of events with Make Sense, and the student is already an entrepreneur right now. So that's a very good way of doing it. But if there's something that we could add, probably is when Nico said we should, or we could aggressively put the programs of those organizations into the things we do, that will create more of a synergy or a link of the programs.
Sir Andy?
Yes.
I would like to add with Sir Cyril's statement. I think we could also encourage our students to join forum like this, or summit like this, wherein they could learn from from their fellow students, as well as from the professionals, so that it will also open opportunities for collaboration.
Yeah, and definitely this whole session is being recorded. We'll share it with you, so if you want, you can share it with your students also who weren't able to participate here today.
Perhaps, Sir Andy, on our side, I see a lot of benefit if a university can be flexible in terms of integrating these partnerships with the curricula, because unless there is a mandate from the university, students tend to not mind it or prioritize it, because a lot of them would always be focused on their grades and the activities that would, of course, bring them their academic requirements. So I believe that there has to be that flexibility for all faculty and administrators of different institutions to really be open in integrating partnerships with organizations, may it be locally or internationally. So, thank you.
Okay, I think most of our institutions have institutional partnership agreements, no? And I think it's about time that we have to put it down to the level where really students get more engaged with one another. Because as we can see with the global pandemic right now, I think if there's one opportunity that it has opened to, is the opportunity to get connected easily through technology. You know, we see a lot of initiatives right now, and I know that this could be further strengthened if academic institutions, administration will provide the needed support for our students, you know, to strengthen the partnerships and collaboration. So I think this is great, and yeah, I hope we can continue to encourage our students, because I know that program to program we have partnerships, you know, and that's good. And as mentioned by my dear friend there, Weng, really there has to be strong curricular support, you know, and the framework by which it could operate. So yes, let's continue to encourage our students, most especially, you know, to really communicate and get engaged with one another, and from our end, really support their initiatives, you know, whether it's in the form of financial resource, mentoring, guiding, all types of support. Then let's do it.
Yep, definitely. Thank you, Sir Rod. And yes, just to round off the conversation we have now, and yeah, so just the final question, like, so and maybe a call out to other participants here. What types of support are you guys looking for? Will you need to make this happen, to make our dream happen of, you know, academic institutions really producing young change makers and social entrepreneurs? And if you have just also a final message to all our participants here.
Sir Ans, we're just very thankful that throughout these past years, we've been constantly communicating with each other. So we have to continue on this passion towards developing and motivating the youth of today. And what to do, perhaps just to link with each other, and as well as involve more people in this advocacy that we have. Because only when there is support of the majority, we will get that attention of the youth that we have. We need to bring them in and cater them into our cause. Just like we believe that this generation would always take a look at or get this their attention when everyone else are buzzing over social media or be talking about it. So just continue, never give up, not losing that fire within us, and to also get to talk in the lingo, in their language, so that this will not just be an obsolete drive that we have, but we have to convert it into something that is current and something that they can easily understand.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Weng.
Sir
Yep.
Andy?
Yes, Doc Don.
I think it's very, very important to believe, no, the capacity, our students are their own capacities, their abilities. As mentioned, the Generation Z, they have their own potential. And I think we have to bank on that. We have to believe in them. We have to give them opportunities, support them as much as we could. And I think we also need to encourage them to create positive change for the community. Simple acts of kindness, being positive in what they do in their studies, in dealing with people around them. It's just simple gestures to make them feel that being themselves, and by helping others as well, being more for others.
Thank you, Doc Don. Sir Rod.
Okay, I think I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation for this platform and this opportunity that we're able to hear from each one, and what we're doing to promote social change and to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. I hope that we can continue this type of conversation, and I hope that we can create more spaces for, especially for our faculty and students, to really share best practices, and insights along the field. And at the same time, I think we need to open up more doors for actual collaborative work where across discipline and across campuses, we do some actual steps, not only in research but in actual engagement, and even in terms of teaching. I think we can go into some kind of a localized exchange where your faculty members from TUP, from USLS, from FU can be invited to be guest lecturers in our campus on a regular basis, because this helps fill in the gap. We all have our own sets of expertise. At the same time, we have strengths, and there are also areas that we can be quite weak, and therefore we can help bridge the gap of those weaknesses. So really, and I'm inviting all who are with us in this session, that once our Center for Delight opens, we really invite you to take part in this process, in this shared service facility, because we know that this is not just for CAMSI alone, and we cannot do this alone. We need the expertise, also people from your schools and your institutions and organizations, and of course partners who can avail of the services and programs that will be offered. So this is also an invitation to everyone. Let's continue to communicate, to get engaged, and I hope that to help sustain this effort, NWTF will continue to be there. So thank you very much, and have a good day.
Thank you, Sir Rod. Sai?
Yes, thank you again. Thank you NWTF, and thank you for people from the academe who's here, sharing their knowledge and expertise. I think for me, it's more of a call for everyone here, a call to action, that let's actively try to create that ecosystem. Sir Rod mentioned that we could, exchange our knowledge, we could exchange resources, share these things. Let's actively and intentionally create this network, because not until that happens, we would not be probably be able to see the real fruits of our labors. Oriental wouldn't be successful if Occidental wouldn't also help, and I think Oriental also has its own strengths that we could share to people in Occidental. So let's create this network. We've done a lot of great things, and let's connect this. Let's try to build these things together, and I think it's very possible. I think there's one of the mentors of our program said, if it's difficult, if masyado nang mahirap, and that means that we're doing the right thing. Because if it's easy, then probably we're on the safer part of it. So mahirap, it will be very challenging, but I think we can very well do it. Ang daming tao dito. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai, and thank you again, everyone. Thank you for sharing what you just did today, sharing your school's programs, initiatives, vision, and long-term goals. So hopefully, yes, we will all help each other achieve those dreams. So thank you, speakers. And then the next part, please look in and watch the videos. We'll be sharing of what young people, young change makers in the Philippines are doing right now and what they are capable of. So please, I invite you to watch the upcoming videos of examples of social enterprises and organizations here in the Philippines to show the power of youth and what they can accomplish.
Good day, everyone. I am Awit, the chairperson of the Youth Empowering Youth Initiative Incorporated, and today I will be presenting to you Sagup Negros, a food waste mitigation initiative. This is what you will see every day in Libertad Market in Bacolod City. One of the most significant sources of food waste are drop-off centers, or what we call as bagsakan here in the Philippines. While it has been an avenue to help our local farmers, it has also generated massive amounts of food waste, especially in this time of COVID-19 pandemic. The city garbage collector gathers roughly a ton of discarded and unsold products from the market every single day. The Food and Agriculture Organization estimated that about 1.3 billion tons of food go to waste globally every year. Food is lost or wasted at every stage of the supply chain, and fresh foods, such as fruits and vegetables, are among the most vulnerable. So in order to combat this issue in food waste, together with our partner vendors, we will be introducing Sagup Negros. Sagup Negros aims to convert unsold market produce that would otherwise end up as food waste into food products for a community eatery, locally known as Karinderia. Sagup is a Ilocano term which means to save or to rescue, and in this program, we seek to reduce the food waste generated daily in the local markets in Negros Occidental. While food waste is a growing issue, it is also an untapped opportunity. Aside from mitigating its environmental impacts, we also hope to provide income support to the local market vendors. Our mission is to reduce the food waste generated in our partner market stalls by 100%. With this, we can also increase the market vendors' monthly income by 10%. During this program cycle, we will have awareness programs and campaigns for at least 1,000 people, both online and on-site. We can all achieve this by using our 4C model. Sagup Negros has designed a model for food waste mitigation that will rely on the collaboration of the Karinderia and the local market vendors. This model is composed of 4 Cs: computation, collection, Karinderia, and composting. The partnered market vendors will compute and assess their products daily on which fruits or vegetables can still be consumed but can't be sold anymore. The collection of the produce from the vendors will be done using Sagup bags. Volunteers will bring the collected Sagup bags to the Karinderia for the preparation and selling of the meals. The Karinderia will store, prepare, and sell the produce. The day-to-day operations of the Karinderia will be done by partnering with unemployed others affected by this pandemic. For composting, we will adopt the basket composting technique due to the lack of space in the city. The generated organic compost will then be sold in the market in partnership with local agricultural product sellers. As this program is still in its development phase, we need all the help that we can get to achieve our mission. We are looking for volunteers, campaigners, partners, and potential sponsors for the logistical and financial needs of this project. We need you in our community. Should you decide to be part of Sagup Negros, the program can provide additional volunteer experiences for you, may it be through awareness campaigns, on-ground engagement with our partner vendors, or with the day-to-day operations of the social enterprise. By journeying with us, you can also replicate this model in your local communities to further widen our impact and to make the Sagup community even bigger. With this, you can help us help more. Should you have any questions about the project or should you want to connect with us, you may reach us through our email sagupnegros@gmail.com, or you may also contact us through our number or our social media pages. Feel free to screenshot, and we are looking forward to connecting with you soon. Madamo gid na salamat.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. I'm the founder and CEO of One Loop, formerly known as One Bag, and we are here to create a culture shift through our packaging. We saw the boom of the e-commerce industry in the Philippines last year, and survey shows that even after the pandemic, more Filipinos are likely to continue to shop online. And sadly, that also resulted in high demand for more single-use plastic packaging to be produced, which in return also helps propagate the throwaway culture in our society. And with our solution, we want to change this narrative. We are Juan Loop, a for-profit social enterprise, and we provide returnable and reusable packaging to online retailers. Our vision is to make this packaging the everyday choice of all Filipino online consumers by 2030. To do that, we want to help businesses shift to better packaging and engage Filipino consumers on community and environmental initiatives. So how does our solution look like? It's simple. It's choose, scan, return. Choose our packaging Juan bag when you order online. Scan our bag to see how you can return them through our app. And once returned, you get exciting rewards and rebates, and the bag will go through sanitation and quality check by our community. And the bag is ready again to be reused by our partnered shops. We also equipped our Juan bags with QR code where you can know how many times the bag have been used, how much carbon emission and plastic you saved, and most importantly, who are the people behind our packaging. Our brand name Juan represents the everyday Filipinos who are greatly affected by the plastic pollution. And at the same time, they are the vital people who can help us tackle this global problem. Our target Juans are our mga ngalakals or collectors and our nanays or mothers. We want to help collectors to be efficient and digitize their collection system and provide additional income to women where they can work at home while taking care of their family. The loop in our brand name represents our circular solution and reliving the bayanihan. We want to bring in bayanihan or the spirit of civic unity and cooperation among Filipinos through our return system. We believe each of us play a vital role to address and change our culture towards plastic packaging. And to achieve this, we need you and everyone. Help us reach businesses to shift to better packaging. Connect us to communities to connect communities to market opportunities and educate and engage consumers on circular solutions. Partner with us and let's change the next big sale. Again, we are Juan Loop and we're reducing single-use plastic Juan at a time. Thank you.
Hello, maayong adlaw sa inyong tanan. My name is Renko Gaudiel and I am the Executive Director of the Bio Youth Collective. The Bio Youth Collective is a network of youth leaders and youth organizations that advocate and promote sustainable development and youth empowerment here in our locality in Bayoan City, Negros Oriental. We believe that youth empowerment and sustainable development go hand in hand with each other in the sense that youth empowerment spurs sustainable development, especially in our local communities. Suffice to say, we are firm believers in the unlimited potential of the youth and their integral role in community building. As such, most, if not all, of our programs are geared towards providing the youth with platforms and avenues for them to harness their potential as solutions leaders of today. Since our conception early this year, we have been able to conduct more than 20 youth-led initiatives and programs that advocate for sustainable development here in our city. Currently, we have more than 100 members and volunteers in our community, and we have a total of 4 youth organizations in our growing network. One of the organizations under our growing network is an organization composed of social entrep advocates called Sencillo, or the Social Entrepreneurs Nurturing Sustainable Initiatives for Life-Yielding Outcomes. They have been actively advocating and promoting social entrepreneurship as a viable platform for social change, especially among youth. For more information about our programs and our initiatives, you can reach out to us through our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Ibayo Youth Collective. We are looking forward to collaborating with you in creating transformational change for our communities. You can directly reach out to Sencillo on their Facebook page, Sencillo. Thank you so much, and Ibayaw tang tanan.
Hello everyone, I am Ichi Izaki representing Aduna. Aduna was established because the founders believed that there are still opportunities wherein the young individuals can be part of the change. One of the projects of Aduna is the Kapin Uno project. In this project, it allows us to help and give opportunities to those unemployed housewives through making them make bags out of flour sacks. The flour sacks utilized in this project comes from waste materials of bake shops. Aduna also participates in various community projects such as coastal cleanups, reef dome making, tree planting, and many more. However, due to the pandemic, we have struggles such as lack of resources that we need and also communication within members, which forced us to stop some of the projects that we have. The organization is still rising from the struggles that they are experiencing right now and will continue to be of service soon. So for now, the Foundation University College of Business Administration Student Government will be the one who will carry out the mission in place of Aduna. So we would gladly accept any opportunities that comes. Through the joint efforts of the CBA faculty and student body, we will do our very best to be of service to the community. To collaborate with us, you may contact us through our FB page, which is FUCBA Student Government. You may also contact us through our email, which is fucbasg17@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us in this last 3 hours or so. It's a little past your lunchtime already, but allow me to close this country forum with a few words. First and foremost, very quickly, I'd like to thank everybody, all the speakers that presented today, Pepper, Nico, Mustafizur, of course, Ratan, Miss Weng, Sir Roderick, Cyril, and Miss Donna, and then all our partners as well, Wala Osik, Grameen Philippines, Aduna, One Loop, Ibayo Youth Collection, and Sagu. Thank you very much. When this journey of social business started for us here at NWTF around 8 or 9 years ago, the only our only dream then was to see the local communities where we are at NWTF become hubs of social business. And today, this activity, this country forum shows us that we are slowly getting there. We're taking baby steps to be there. The last couple of years that we've attended the Global Social Business Summit, NWTF has always been talking about what can be done here in terms of social business and social entrepreneurship in the Philippines. But today, it is my utmost pleasure and my honor to really see that that all of you, it's our partners now talking about social business and community engagement for that matter. So, today has really proven that there is really power in community engagement, and there is a lot of community engagement happening all over the country, whether through the organizations, through the schools, and you and I know that there is a lot more that can be done. So moving forward, NWTF will continue to be here. This is our commitment. And NWTF will continue to be here to guide you and make sure that we're able to close the gap and ensure that these community engagements, these partnerships really benefit the community at large. So please feel free to reach out to us, myself, Andy, or anybody here at NWTF or Dunganon Bank for that matter, because we want to be able to partner with you, especially the schools and universities, which are our partners as well. We want to be able to partner with you in your specific programs, so that the next time we have something like this, and definitely I promise you that this will be an annual activity, and probably even a semi-annual one, that we will see, eventually we will see the students, the people that we lead, the people that we teach, being the ones that are leading the change not only in our small communities or in the small universities, but hopefully in the country as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for the Philippine Country Forum of the Global Social Business Summit. There are still a lot of events. There's still 2 more days, today and tomorrow, for GSBS 2021. Please join in if you via the web platform below. We'd like to thank as well all the organizers from my colleagues here at NWTF. You've done a fantastic job, the communications team and the research and the strategic projects team. And of course, our partners from Bangladesh, Ratan and Maisha. Thank you very much. Of course, not able to join us today, but definitely here in spirit, Professor Yunus and Shazib are good friends from Bangladesh as well. Thank you very much, and definitely will push for more social businesses, more community engagement as we ensure a brighter and better Philippines. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Hi, Dave.
Thank you, everyone.